What's up, everyone? Happy Sunday. It's here, y'all. The finale. Last of Us seemed like it just started yesterday, man. But here we are, episode 9, season 1 finale. Man, time is flying, man. And damn, this show just can't catch a break, man. You got Oscars this Sunday. You have Super Bowl a couple weeks ago, NBA All-Star, but we're gonna be strong tonight. All the people watching right now are definitely excited for the finale, and I can't believe it's here, man. But we're excited to be watching it tonight. As a community, I want to thank every single one of you all that's been watching these watch parties these past 9 weeks now. And for those that have joined the after shows that we have after the watch party, I appreciate you all. I always love having these discussions and all this stuff with you all. So let me turn off the music, by the way. I always forget to turn it off. There we go. There we go. Turn the music off. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. But yeah, no, I was just thinking if you guys couldn't hear me over the music, I just wanted to thank you all for joining me these last 9 weeks with these watch parties and after shows. And here we are, man, with our finale. And like I said, this show, we going strong, man, with The Last of Us. The Oscars tonight, which shout out to the winners. I think Guillermo del Toro won for Pinocchio. Who else won? Kiki Kwan. Shout out to him. I wanted Angela to win, and Carrie Condon was up there for me too. But shout out to Jamie Lee Curtis, man. I know she won Best Supporting Actress, and I've been a fan of hers. If you all don't know me, Halloween 1978 is my favorite horror film of all time. So I've been a fan of hers for many. I wasn't born during the 70s, obviously, but I've been a fan of hers for a while. So shout out to her and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Looks like it's cleaning house so far, 2 for 2 on their nominations. So but shout out to all the winners tonight. I'm gonna probably watch the obviously the recap of the show after we watch our show. This is our Oscars for The Last of Us fans, right? So but shout out to all the winners so far, and everywhere all at once. Hopefully can get that W tonight, which I have a feeling it will, and the Daniel. So but we're not talking Oscars, we're talking Joel and Ellie trying to save the world. That's the most important thing tonight. But let me say what's up to everyone in the chat. My man Jay in the building. What's up, Jay? May Kent, how we doing this? This is a wonderful Last of Us evening. May said, hope this is a good episode tonight. You and me both, May. I mean, it's been a fantastic season so far, and I don't always hang my overall experience on a finale, but I am one of those viewers and that would enjoy a good, satisfying conclusion to a story that we've been invested in. So I'm hopeful. It is only like it's under 50 minutes. I do know that as far as the episode runtime. So that does make me slightly bit a little nervous. Not that runtime's everything, but we'll see. But hopefully we'll be talking in the next hour, crying our eyes out, talking about how amazing this episode was. What's going on, Harley? How we doing tonight? Nisi, how we doing? Zia, what up? Mayan, my fellow servant / Scream fan, how we doing? It's been a great weekend, y'all. Scream stuff. We had a very good discussion on that these last few days. So shout out to all the Scream fans out there. I hope I hope we get the satisfying ending as we did in the game. I hope so, Jay. I hope so. I heard there's some changes, which we've come to expect that from the show thus far, but we'll see, man. So hyped for the finale. What's up, Xavier? Yeah, me too, man. Me too. We got Vaughn in the building. What's up, Vaughn? It feels, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like it's every week. Harley, you've been supporting the channel in this way, and it doesn't go unnoticed and it doesn't go unappreciated. Thank you so much, Harley. You have been awesome. Regardless of the super chat, you've always been awesome person. Got to chat with you a few times. Hopefully we can chat again in the future, but I thank you 1,000 for that support. Giving props to Elliot, saw you on the news. Oh yeah, so happy for you and seeing you out there thriving. Can't wait to talk some movies and shows with you soon. Yes, that part right there. I can't wait to get back into some discussions with you, because we got a lot of stuff to look forward to, Harley. I mean, we got it's the horror weekend, right? We got the Scream Sixes of the world. We got some other great stuff to look forward to this month, and then next month, Harley, I know you're a horror fan like I am. Evil Dead Rises. And of course, us DC fans, right? We gotta stick together. So shout out to Harley, always showing some love. Can't wait to catch up with her soon to talk some movies and shows. But thank you for the super chat. Thank you for just being a dope, awesome person. So I appreciate you and appreciate all of you all of that matter. I appreciate every single one of you all. So yeah, Thor, that's a good idea to go behind the TV as I'm live. Give me a second, guys. Let me get this dog before he untangles the internet. All right, and we're back. Put a one in the chat if you guys can hear me, because I know sometimes when you exit the chat, it sometimes cuts the mic off. So put a one in the chat if you actually hear me okay. But again, thank you, Charlie. Thank you. Zia in the building. What's up, Zia? And a winner for the best host. Thank you, Jay. Well, I don't know if that's was for. I'm look at my pompous nature. I don't know. Were you talking about Jimmy Kimball, the host tonight, or was that a compliment for the hosting tonight, Jay? Let me know. Let me know. Just got to work. Had to make it in time. What up, Tony? What up, Tony? Yeah, just in time, my friend. Just in time. I had to watch the finale that already. It's not been great performances. Yeah, I want an Angela. I want an Angela Zia. But again, shout out to Jamie Lee Curtis. If you guys didn't see my top 10 movies of last year or my review for Everything Everywhere All at Once last year, it was my favorite movie last year. So I'm glad that at least if Angela didn't get it, at least the people that was a part of my favorite film last year got the award. So but shout out to Angela Bassett. She doesn't need the award to validate her amazing impact on the film industry and her amazing impact in the culture. So she's an MVP in my book always. So but yeah, what would have been dope. She got that Oscar though. Tasha, what up? What up? Thor's with the fashion. Yeah, that's his fashion, aka it's his. I put that on him to calm him down because he gets all excited when we go live. So it's like a little calming vest slash fashion vest. Oh man, gotta love the little man. But let me get everything set up here because the episode will be coming on in a little bit. But yeah, let me know in the chat, guys. How we feeling, man? Are we nervous? Are we excited? Are we both about the finale? Are we hopeful that it's gonna be fantastic? I think we all are. I think we all are. Like Zia said, yeah, hit that thumbs up. Uh, it goes a long way. Yes, yes, yes. G, what up? What up? I'm excited for the night. You and me both. Whew. Gee, we got mini finales this week, right? We got tonight with The Last of Us. We have Servant on Friday, which I haven't watched yet, G, but I'm gonna probably watch it sooner rather than later to get, obviously get my review prepped, and it's gonna probably be a long video because I'm hoping that we will get some answers for our Leanne situation. All right, so you guys can hear me. Okay, thank you. I can't believe it. I know it's the last show. It's crazy. Time goes by when you're having fun, right? Danny says I'm playing Resident Evil demo. Nice. I used to be a Resident Evil fan back in the day. Oh, just got the alert. Little Mermaid trailer drop, y'all. I'm gonna have to check that out tonight. Shout out to Hailey Bailey, doing her thing. Hopefully that movie will be up for an Oscar next year. Fingers crossed. Elliot, have to buy you on DVD the first season from. Yeah, I know, mate. Apparently it's on Amazon. So, and I have Amazon, so I haven't looked it up, but I'm gonna have to check it out because everyone talks about how amazing that show is, and I think season 2 is coming out pretty soon. So, don't buy the DVD. I'll check it out. I'll check it out on streaming on Amazon. What up, Nate? Hey, wondering if you're gonna change anything major about the? Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. I'm gonna miss these. Yeah. Me too, man. And again, we might, like I said, depending on how gracious HBO will be, we might do these watch parties for Succession. So we'll see what goes on with that. But is the episode loaded yet? Not quite yet. At least on my end. Let me just scroll over to see if I didn't miss it. But we might do this again for Succession. So keep an eye out for that. If there's any Succession fans out there. Great show. Great show. What's up, Baker? Bella made me nervous. Can't wait to see how to see. Yeah, I know, Zia. I know. I'm really excited to see her and Joel relationship after last week's episode too. Nervous but excited. I can't imagine how the heck They're gonna write. I know 45 minutes too. That's the thing. Luckily this isn't one of those, gee, with Servant, right? We got one episode left to answer so many questions. Luckily, The Last of Us isn't like a big mystery box with a bunch of unanswered questions and what have you. A bunch of stuff left in the. Where is the episode? It's not a show that's like based around mystery. So, hopefully we get just a satisfying story conclusion more than anything. I don't know, voice. I don't know. I posed the question in my previous, not the last review, the one before that. And I mean, people responded, but not enough for me to set aside time to do that. And then plus two, voice, the show is like I watched Servant a little bit ahead of time. Where the hell is the finale? Did they bump it a different time? Let me know if it's the finale on you guys. And I don't see it on my HBO Max. What was I saying? Servant finale watch party. Yeah, like I said, I don't know when people watch it. That's the big thing, voice. Like I watch it, like I said, a little bit ahead of time because I get to screeners. But then I don't know when the audiences watches the show because it comes on. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Servant, yeah, it's on my phone, so I don't know why it's not on the app. Servant, 43 minutes. Jesus Christ. Servant comes on Thursdays, and I don't know if people watch it Thursday night, or if they wait till Friday, or if they watch it Saturday. So it's just one of those things where it's just kind of hard to determine if it's enough, people is going to be tuning in because I don't know when people watch the episodes. So, but yeah, man. All right, y'all. Let me reset this thing one more time. And this happened like a couple weeks ago, didn't it? Where it wasn't coming up on my Apple, but it was on my phone. It's on my HBO Max app. So let me just reset my HBO or Apple TV. Let's see if it's here. And if not, I might have to watch it on my phone for the first few minutes. All right, let's see. Fingers crossed that it's loaded on the Max app. Let's go. Because I know it's 8:03, so I don't want to be too far behind. I know there's trailers and stuff they're showing. Freak, man. Why does it do this? All right, y'all. I don't want to keep y'all too late because I know it's Oscars night. It's Sunday night. So let me just set it up on my phone until it pops up on the television. That's so stupid. Does anyone else have an Apple TV and it's not loaded? It's loaded on. Okay, everyone's saying it's loaded. I don't know. Does anyone have an Apple TV out there? I don't know why mine is like delayed, and it's not like not like an old Apple TV. This is like the most recent one. All right, whatever. I'm just watching on my phone. First world problems, right? I'm gonna try one more time because I really don't want to watch it on my phone. And I can't watch it on my computer because my computer will probably explode if I run this stream and watch a HD show at the same time. Oh, okay, here it is. Third time times 3 is a charm. All right, here it is, y'all. All right, let me prep. Let me get it. Let me set up my headsets, and then we'll get it going. I apologize. I'm a little bit behind you guys. Who's been on for 5 minutes. Well, probably like 2 minutes. I'm gonna skip the intro. I'm gonna skip the trailer and go straight to the show because I'm a little bit behind. So I am pressing play. Let me get this up, and we will get this going. All right. Cool. All right. So 5, 4, 3, 2, pressing play now. And again, I'm gonna skip the trailer, and skip the outro or the intro because I'm a little bit behind with technical difficulties. Come on. Skip. Here we go. All right, y'all. So I am jumping right into it. I forgot when I skip it. I'm like a couple minutes ahead. What is it? 3 minutes? 3:09. Jesus. I like this timer up there. If y'all are watching it, don't worry. I'm gonna catch up. I'm just gonna let this timer catch up because I want it to be synced to the to where it's at in the episode. So go ahead if you guys are watching. I'll catch up. I'm just gonna wait till this timer gets to where it's at in the show, so it's like synced properly. And I'm gonna actually put Thor up because he is kind of being a little annoying. You know what I'm saying? Dogs are so curious sometimes, right? All right, guys. I'm gonna wait till this timer on the screen right now is synced up to where I'm at in episode, which is 3:09. So give me 2 minutes. I'm gonna put Thor up, and then I'm gonna catch up to where that timer is. So I will be right back. Um, Episode start. All right, yeah. Give me like 2 minutes, and I'll be right back, guys. Oops, wrong button. All right, we are back. Bring myself back in here. All right, guys. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Had to skip the intro, had to skip the trailer because HBO Max didn't load the episode. So I'm like a couple minutes behind from this time. Well, I'm actually a minute behind from the timer, less than a minute. So as soon as that timer says 3:09, I'm going to be pressing play. So if you're watching it, no worries. Just don't put anything in the spoilers for me. But if you all are also at home watching it at the proper timing, I will be just a couple minutes behind. All right. Come on, timer. Get a little faster. I think I saw a super chat from Claire. Shout out to Claire. Hey, glad to join you all live for the first time. Well, welcome, Claire. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the super chat as well. And I appreciate you. All right, y'all. So I think I should be synced right now. All right, there we go. But thank you so much, Claire. I appreciate you. And I'm so glad you can join the live. And I'm so glad you're watching this with us. So shout out to Claire showing some support. I appreciate you, Claire. And I appreciate you all again for joining me tonight. And again, just a reminder to thumbs up, share this stream, and leave your thoughts on the episode in the comments. Oh, is this is this Ashley? Yeah, it's Ashley Johnson, y'all. For you all at home that haven't played the games, Ashley Johnson voiced and played because it was a mo capture when they made the game. She played Ellie in the game, y'all. So this is a huge character and an actor to the lore of Last of Us, as Troy Baker was last week with playing James. And I assume this is a flashback based on the trailer. That this is Ellie giving birth to Ellie. Super meta. She was running from clickers and had a baby. And I don't think this is from the games either. Again, a lot of y'all are probably ahead of me, so probably like, yeah, we've been there, done that, Elliot. But I'm just catching up to y'all. Definitely getting some A Quiet Place vibes, right? With this house and a baby and a mom running from clickers. Yeah, this is definitely giving me Last of Us vibes, or Last of Us vibes. A Quiet Place vibes. Dude, is she gonna have to kill a clicker before giving birth to Oh my gosh, that's terrifying. That is terrifying. One of the scariest scenes for me in horror movies is people running after people. Scares the shit out of me. Oh my goodness, that is just terrifying to think of. Oh my goodness. Dude, can you imagine? Get in the head. Oh my goodness. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, is this how they saying Ellie was? Oh my goodness, that's one way to have a child. Oh my gosh. Dude, that was intense as hell. Oh, she got bit. And Ellie was born and she got the umbilical cord. Wow. Bro. What? Hold up. Dude, that wow, I don't think they've ever explained the origins of how Ellie, because I haven't played the second game as I said previous times on these watch parties. And I've played the game a couple times through, but it's been some time since I played. I don't remember Ellie getting the origin story of her birth and her mom. Yo, that's wow. Ellie giving birth to Ellie. Oh man. That was wow. I love that. I mean, scientifically, I don't know how any of this works, but her mom got bit as she was giving birth, and it pushed through her stream. So, oh damn. Well, I didn't know the freaking intro. I can't skip it now because it's synced up to my timer. Man, that was great. That was pretty dope to kind of get that reveal. Again, for those that just tuned in, I'm a couple minutes behind for some technical difficulties. So this is where I'm at in the episode. The intro's playing. Just saw Ashley Johnson, the real Ellie that voiced the actor, the character in the game, give birth to our Ellie, Bella Ramsey. And wow, get to find out how she is immune. So it's all the mothers in this world, take a tip as you're giving birth. Have a clicker bite you, sacrifice yourself to have more immune. Well, yeah, I guess you don't have to do that. Once Ellie has kids, it'll kind of pass along that way. I would, well, who knows if it's genetics pass on to another child. Wow, that seems great. Number one, the intensity, suspense, and shout out to Ashley Johnson, man. She did a great job. Like, I know you all like, Ellie, we're like 5 minutes ahead of you, bro. We already living in the future. uh, oh my gosh. Marlene, where have you been? It's another flashback? Or is this present? I'm just catching up to the comments. Yeah, Ashley. Yeah. Yeah, she played. Yeah, Mickey. She played. I think you already heard me. I'm catching up on the comments, but yeah, she's a mama. Oh, oh, she was infected. Oh, they're gonna have to kill her to get the baby out of her arms. Oh no. What's her name? Hannah. I'm catching up. I think you. Hold on. I don't want to get into spoilers. I think y'all might be ahead of me. Blade. They're gonna find the baby. Cut the umbilical cord. Cut the cord on two. Oh, that's what's up, Jay. I'm sure that's a memorable thing. Should never forget. And she did say, Marlene did say she knew her since she was a girl or a baby. Hmm. Oh my gosh. She just sounds like an older version of Ellie. The knife. Anna. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so sad, man. Oh man. Shout out to Ashley Johnson, bro. Shout out. No offense to like Troy. He didn't really get that much screen time, but she's so great. She is so great. And I think it's messing me up in my head. I'm thinking Ellie, just hear it in her voice, and it's just so meta that she gave birth to our Ellie. That's so great that they did that. I love that they did that. Who gonna do it? You got it, Marlene. You showing her mercy. Why would you? Where's the other people she was with? She gonna probably do it. Yeah. Damn, bro. Who the dad? Where's the dad at? Oh, that's so sad, man. Damn, bro. This goddamn show. Damn. I mean, it was a little. I mean, you had to do it, but a little finesse would have been appreciated. born in a world, born in a world like that, man. That's something. Obviously, she's a baby, but I wonder if Marlene told her. Man, this show does not miss on getting you in the feels. I wonder how much time has passed since we last saw them, and because Joel is like already a different person, like in a good way. He's being a little bit more loving, but he's completely different. So you can tell their relationship has grown. She, and in the road, she doesn't want to go. She's already lost so much. Thanks. I mean, this is a whole new Joel, y'all. Saying thanks and being all nice, making small talk. Who is this? Who's this imposter on the screen right now, y'all? This is throwing me the hell off. Seeing Joel so nice and seeing her so not as talkative. It's throwing me off, guys. I don't want to be the party pooper, but I do. If there is a criticism, is a lot of lost time with Ellie and Joel, and in particularly from last week's impactful, changing moment to where they are now. Would have loved to have seen that. Who is it? This Joel, man, cracking jokes. This is doesn't feel right. No, going back to like, I just wish we would have seen that moment of that trust that they have now. Because obviously, like I said, if you all can tell at home, this is completely different Joel. And this is also throwing me off that Ellie's so quiet. It's not natural. What y'all saying in the chat? Great CGI like Jurassic Park. It's throwing me off. She's so quiet, right? That's how I feel. Yeah, just one conversation after last week's episode would have been great. That's yeah. Again, I don't want to be I'm enjoying a lot that we've seen so far in these almost 20 minutes. But yeah, I wish we would have seen just like the bond continue to happen. I'm just so curious on how much time has passed. Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. They're getting close, and she feels as though this is where they're gonna cross or go their separate ways. But he already told her that he wants to teach her how to play guitar. So to me, that seems like that's an after the fact type of situation, or maybe she's just fearful that it's not gonna work. I don't know, but she's unnaturally quiet right now. Yeah, Tony. Tony knows what's up. She's probably realizing or railing from the trauma from last. That could be well. Again, I don't know how much time has passed from last week to when we saw them last. But you might be right on that for sure. That's definitely a traumatizing event that is not easy to shake off. But yeah, Tony, I think you're right, man. Yep. Tony was right, y'all. This is definitely a pivotal moment in the game when we see a giraffe. It's kind of a symbol of hope. Man, that CGI look clean, yo. Like a real giraffe. Seeing giraffe, which I've never seen a giraffe in person, but seeing animals like that to me is just so mind-boggling. Because this reminds me of like how many creatures have touched this earth throughout the existence of humanity. It's just something you don't see every day. Anyone see a giraffe in person before? I don't know. I don't really like zoos personally. I just don't like animals being kept in cages and stuff like that. So that's even when I was little, I didn't go to a lot of zoos, but let me know if y'all have seen a giraffe live action and if it's as mythical in person as it is as I imagine it would be. Wow. Again, I hate to sound like a broken record. It's uh, oh wow, so sweet. Oh, put that on a t-shirt. Put that on a t-shirt, y'all. I'll follow you anyway. Wow, that was beautiful. Well acted, Miss Bella, or not Miss. I know she's non-binary. Good, great job, Bella. Great job. Like I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record. It's been some time since I played the game, so I don't remember all the minute details. But I don't remember Joel like saying, "Hey, we can just turn her back around and forget all this happened." I don't remember him ever saying that to her at this point on their journey. So that's correct me if I'm wrong for my game heads out there that's played the game that remember it pretty vividly. If that's a show add in or if that is the game that he was at this point in the game, he was willing to call it quits because he knows he can sense that his baby girl is nervous. But for then Ellie to say that to him was beautiful, man. Again, game heads, fill me in, fill me in. Was that a dialogue thing from the game or for the show? Favorite animal? Yeah, beautiful, beautiful animals. Same music. Oh, you went on a safari? Shout out to you. That's awesome. At the zoo, you seen? So I'm the only mofo in here that hasn't seen a giraffe. At our zoo in Texas, you feed them nice. See, y'all way cooler than me. What I missed? What they talking about? I'm sorry. Just reading the comments. Oh, wow. You talking about Sarah, y'all? Oh, it was Ellie. Come on. Come on, guys. Oh my goodness, guys. Come on. Come on with the emotions. That was beautiful. Every goddamn person seeing giraffes except for me. Except for me. What is going on? This is just right out of the game. Perfecto. You think the animals are immune? Cool. I'm glad Joe's thinking this way. I blame him. Monkeys too. Wow. Follow you. Yeah, that's a lie. Oh, snap. Oh. Oh, goddamn. Is that fireflies? Couldn't just say freeze, put your hands up? Oh boy. What's up, General? How we doing? Can we trust Marlene? I think we might got the answer to that. Beautiful scene. You finally open up about Sarah. Someone's cutting. I know, right? Every time, Eric. Every time. Yeah, he tried to take his own life. Damn, they got me. Yeah, it was you. Yeah, that was a great line. Yeah, fireflies. Marlene's so stupid. They trying to break me. Yeah, for no damn reason. Mm-hmm. Mm. How are you saving her if you're killing her? Mm. Damn. God damn, Marlene. Cold as a mofo. Again, man, I'm telling y'all, all this stuff is kind of new territory for me, even having played the game in 5, 6 years ago. So this is all kind of brand new to me, man. I'm on the edge of my seat just like y'all are. Literally, I'm on the edge of my couch right now. So yeah. I remember how it ends, but it's still a little cloudy on how we get there. So this is gonna be interesting. Damn. Damn, Joel. My dude. Why didn't he take his gun? Well, I know he got one gun, but take his gun too, man. What you be doing that in movies and shows, man? I'm getting as much ammo as possible. And that's a why wouldn't he not get the I'm not a gun expert, y'all. I'm sorry, but the assault rifle. Well, I guess this is a rifle, but the is that an AK to do that? I don't know. Don't matter. He's gonna take out these fools like the damn Terminator. Oh, okay, it has a okay. This score is amazing right now in my ears. You're dead. Damn. Dude, these fireflies suck. Yeah, I remember in the game, what Joel's doing is what you're doing in the game. So this was like a very high tense felt moment. And this is very much like a video game. Whenever you run out of ammo, go ahead and take the enemy's ammo. Very much a well played, guys. Well played. I wish there was a little bit more of that in the whole series. Kind of more action heavy moments. He said, "Not today." Did he have to kill Abby's dad though? Oh, well, X keep yeah, X keep the game 2. I'm like, who the hell is Abby? Keep game 2 stuff out of the chat, guys, for people like me who haven't played part 2 but are very aware of certain elements. So anyone that played part 2, please refrain from keeping spoilers in the chat, please. I would appreciate it. Hope he don't. Is he about to? Okay. Yeah. Again, I vividly remember this in the game, and yes, again, for those that play part two, we're gonna keep from saying anything about part two, but I know in the game they don't intentionally show the doctor being killed and the bullet in his head. So definitely something to keep in mind for another season. I'll just say that. And this comes from someone that hasn't played part two, but I'm very aware of the significance of that shot. Literally. Man. Let me know in the chat, guys, for obviously game players, but more importantly, the non-game players out there. It's a bold move that Joel's doing right now. Hmm. Damn, that's a tough call, man. Even in the game, I'm like, man, that's a tough call. I can't believe this episode's by the end of like 4 minutes. The suspense is killing me. But I know what he's gonna do. Man. Mm, the lie. Mm, damn. Damn, man. That's look, I'm not a parent, but I know some lies are just lies you tell to protect the ones you love, you know? Even if you don't have kids, you know. We've all probably done this before, but I mean not to this scale. Where is that? Well, I guess with Tommy. Damn, man. You think she knows um you would do the same? I'm just reading the comments. You totally understand, Joe Elliott. Are we watching the making? Are we watching the making of? Yeah. I mean, if there's like a little thing, yeah, we do it every week. Yeah, we watch a little after the episode thing. So yeah. Oh man. right? I mean, that's the truth. Is that how we gonna end? Oh man, that's beautiful. Man, that is a beautiful, beautiful shot on the road to a new life. Joel and Ellie. Man, that's a tough call, man. That is a tough. Oh, they're going back to Tommy. That's a tough call, bro. All of the world or the person you love. She's tough. And she's funny. It's true. Man. Yeah, I think she knows Ellie's a smart cookie. Yeah. Oh, so some of you are, yeah, I know some of y'all a little bit ahead of me. So I'm gonna not read the chat for a little bit so I finish the episode in a couple minutes here. And then for those that are ahead of me, I will be watching. We always watch a little behind the scenes afterwards, and then we'll have our after show and talk about it, y'all. Finale is here. It's here. I'm gonna talk about Riley. They're gonna finally tell us. Mm-hmm. Mm. Damn. Oh, I hate liars, but I love Joel. So, damn, damn, damn. What is this? Why does this show love to end on like weird notes? They did that on what was it, episode 7 when they ended just like a just on a. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would have. They should have ended on them walking to the gates or something. Listen, man, that was a great episode, man. I was worried about the runtime. They conveyed pretty much a lot of what I remember about the finale of the game, as far as how we get to A to Z. I still have my issues with from last week to this point, that bond between the two. Because, and this is just, and we'll talk about it tonight in the after show, but that's a gripe amount of the entire series. Is like there's moments of space of growth and development that was kind of not rushed through, but just not even shown. And we're just like seeing them kind of new change characters and get all. And I'm, if you watch a lot of my shows breakdowns, I hate off screen development. Luckily, there's good actors. All right, we'll put a pin in this, but I want to hear the creators talk about their creation of this finale. Yeah, people do crazy things for love, man. And love is two sides of love. There's obviously the beauty of it, and there's the blindness and kind of clouds your judgment. Ashley's, oh, she did such a great job tonight. Man, she was great. She is. We'll talk about it tonight, y'all, in our after show, which will be starting in about 10 minutes. That scene was terrifying. Yeah, that's so great that it's so great that she played the mother of Ellie. It's just so meta, giving birth to Elliot, giving birth to Ellie. I love Ashley Johnson, man. Oh, she did such a great job tonight, and of course, always have a special spot in my heart for voicing Ellie those in the game. Who directed this episode tonight? Hmm. Man, there's so many like pre kind of spin-off ideas they can work with. You can get a Anna and Marlene prequel. You can get a Sam and Henry prequel. You can get a Bill and Frank prequel. So many spin-offs they spin can spin off with these characters. Hmm. Is that a game thing for my game heads? Marlene and Ellie's mom being friends since childhood? Yeah, I want to hear them talk about the giraffe episode because that's a very touchy moment in the game. Yeah. No one person can say the word point blank, period. Hmm. This episode was too short. It was a little jarring. Yeah, that abrupt ending is this, and 2 weeks ago they did that. It's too heavy burden on Ellie to have be the save of the world. Joe did the right thing. Legit lie. Okay. Maybe that's a poll that we'll have in tonight's discussion. Did he do the right thing? And we'll talk about that tonight too, Jay. This is a conversation I think crosses over across many different, whether it's video game adaptations, movies, shows, books, comics, or it's like, well, it happened in the comic, it happened in the game. Doesn't always mean you got to do it, an adaptation. You can always switch things up, but I hear you. Yeah, y'all think Ellie still knows that he's lying, even though she says that she trusts him. Y'all think she still feel like he's just lying to her for right reasons. But in every lie, there's a little bit of, you know, the intent of the lie is always pure, but it's still a lie at the end of the day, right? Well, not the intent of all lies are pure, but in that intent, he's trying to, do the right thing in his eyes. Right now. I want to hear from the director of tonight's episode because I thought the director, whoever directed this, did an excellent job. I have to look that up for tonight's after show because whoever directed this, I think, did a hell of a job tonight. How long is this after show? All right, it's a couple more minutes. All right, yeah, this is about to wrap up in a little bit. In the meantime, if you guys want to start to put your score of tonight's episode in the chat, the out of 1 out of 10, what would you guys rate tonight's episode? And if you guys have been a part of this adventure the last 9 weeks, I'll share my score when we get to tonight's after show, which we will be kicking off here in the next 10 minutes or so. Got an 8.7 out of 10, 9 pure stack, 9s, 8s, 10s, 8s. Okay. And I'm gonna read them off when we get to the after show. But yeah, just continue to put your score in the chat and we'll bring them up when we get to the after show here in a bit. Yeah, tonight's after show, we'll obviously talk about the episode. We'll go over our favorite episodes, what worked, what didn't work. MVPs, we'll give out some awards for the best character, best actor, maybe best moments, maybe least favorite moments. We'll have a nice little discussion tonight since it is the finale. And I'm gonna miss y'all, man. So we're gonna be on for a little bit tonight. Wow. I love what Greg Mason just said in this it's not time that heals, it's people. I love that line. I don't know if I've ever heard that before. Mm-hmm. Wow, well said, well said. I'm mad they didn't have the director saying. Well, I know they never really had directors throwing their 2 cents, and I know they have a podcast, but I would have loved to heard the director's mind on the episode. Man, that really touched me. What Greg just said. It's not time that heals his people. That's so true, man. That is so damn true. All right, y'all. So that is the end of our watch party. We're going to be transitioning over to our after show. I'm going to run to the restroom right quick and get things prepped. So, in the meantime, y'all, get your waters, get your chips, get your popcorn. We're going to have an after show. We're going to discuss tonight's episode. We're going to discuss the series as a whole, favorite moments, favorite episodes, MVP of the season, all that good stuff. So, in about 5 minutes, we'll get into those discussions. And I can't wait to see you guys on the other side. In the meanwhile, while you guys are refreshing yourself, go ahead and continue to put your score on tonight's episode in the chat. We'll read them off and we'll have a good time tonight, y'all. So, again, quick 5-minute break. And now we'll see you guys on the other side. And we back, and we back, and we back. What's up, y'all? What's happening? We are back discussing this finale, man, of The Last of Us. Jeez, man, what time. It flies. It flies by when you're having fun, y'all. Welcome back, or welcome for those that join me for tonight's after, or I should say, watch party. I appreciate y'all. And welcome to those that are tuning in. We've been doing these watch parties for the last 9 weeks. Jesus, 9 weeks. And here we are discussing the finale. So before we get into it, I just want to take a moment just to thank everyone that has been watching these watch parties with me throughout this season and have joined the after shows after the fact. I really appreciate it, man. I know there's a lot of amazing content creators out there that have other watch parties, that have discussions, that have after shows, that have reactions. And the fact you all, check out my little channel and join the fun on this side of things. I appreciate it, man. It goes a long way. So I just want to take the time to thank you all for supporting your boy and being part of this journey. And I'm going to miss these discussions, man. We got to wait till, 2-3 years maybe to get to the second season. But in the meantime, of course, we're going to be covering a lot of other stuff and having other watch parties. But as far as the Last of Us community, it's been a good time, man. It's all good things come to an end for now. But we'll be back for season 2. But again, I just want to thank you all for the support, man. It means a lot. It means a lot. So with that, man, I got a couple. I had a guest that I'm going to be having joining us in a little bit. A returning guest. I haven't spoken to her in a while, so it's going to be great to catch up with her. So we're going to get her in the mix and get her thoughts on the show and have a conversation tonight and have a good time, man. In the meantime, if you guys are just joining us, or if you forgot to hit the like button in the watch party, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit the share button, and leave your thoughts in the comments, man. We're gonna try to get as many comments as possible because it is the finale, so we got a lot to discuss. But in the meantime, while I wait till my guest gets here, go ahead and put your score in the chat. And on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, however you grade shows or movies on a letter grade, but just I guess just keep it simple, easier to read. Put your score out of 1 to 10. What's that finale looking like? And then we'll get to a little bit later and we'll discuss the season as a whole. What would you rank, or I should say, what would you score the season out of 1 to 10? So we'll discuss that a little bit later. Looks like my guest is in the back room and so excited to have her on. Again, I haven't had a chance to talk to her on camera since Euphoria, which seems so long ago. And who knows if that was the last time we we discussing that show with all the drama with that, but that's another discussion for another day. But so excited to have her back and get her thoughts on this episode. Gabriella, how we doing?
I'm back again.
Yeah, it's
It
been a
is so
while.
nice to see you.
Same. It's been so long. I'm so happy to talk to you about this amazing show. How has your journey been with this show? How did you think about the finale and get all that good stuff? But before we get into it, why don't you introduce yourself to the lovely people out there watching us live?
I'm Gabriella. I am a heavy TV HBO Sunday fanatic, and most of my content is TV based. So, and I also work in production. So I do a ton of behind the scenes stuff as well, which makes it a lot more fun to watch.
Yes, and that handle, by the way, I love it. Don't watch me, watch TV. Fire. Can we get that on a T-shirt, Gabriella? That is.
They're coming. They're coming.
They're coming. All right. Yes, y'all. Again, Gabriella is someone man, we were on the Instagrams like many years ago. So we've been internet buddies, and hopefully one day we can cross paths and meet each other in person. But it's always great to see you. And like I said, you speaking my language. TV. I love movies, right? MovieFiles, obviously, but I love me some good shows, and she has some great taste in shows. And speaking of great shows, Gabriella, since it's your first time joining us, tell me a little bit about your journey. We got Joel and Ellie on the journey. Tell me about your journey with the show. Were you a fan of the game, played the game? Were you new to this IP with this being the show? Kind of tell me your path into The Last of Us.
Yeah, 100%. So to be honest with you, I was probably one of the people that was like, I don't know if this is going to be for me, because I'm not a big horror girl in any way, shape, or form. I am scared very easily. I also am not a huge gory person, so seeing blood freaks me out. And I was a little concerned when I started it. I had heard that it was a game, but again, I wasn't really in the gaming space, so I wasn't really up to date on that. So
Gotcha.
when it started, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be for me. I wasn't sold on it 100%. And then I
Gotcha.
had watched that premiere and I said, you know what? This may be for me. I may be finally convinced. And I think
Yeah.
that was one of my favorite things about the show once it started was that if it was able to convince someone like me who everything the show was about basically was
Right.
everything I wouldn't watch,
Mhm.
if it was able to convince me to tune in, then it could convince anybody. And I
Yeah.
think that was a really big part of why I continued and stuck to the story. I mean, who isn't a fan of Pedro Pascal, the daddy of the internet right now?
I mean,
Come
him and
on.
Jonathan Majors, I mean, they're just like, 1 week here, you can hold this. All right, your turn. I mean, they're just taking over right now, but
And I
Pedro's the main
just saw Creed yesterday too. So I'm like, oh, give it all to me. I love
takeover,
these two.
takeover.
These two need to run the
When
world.
are their paths gonna cross on TV? That's what I wanna know, or in film, we need to
I'm
see these
waiting for
2 on screen.
I'm waiting for an Oscar Isaac Pedro Pascal
That's
collab.
true. That's true.
I
That's
want
true.
I want those two to get their flowers together. I'm ready for that.
That's true. Now I think about so random. I can't remember the name of the movie. I don't know if you saw it on Netflix. It was Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac, Ben Affleck, and the guy I think he was in that biker show. I can't remember the name of it. If someone can help me out in the chat. It was on Netflix. They were like mercenaries, and it was a pretty good movie. So if you haven't seen it, Gabriella and everyone in chat, if you want to see Pedro and Oscar Isaac on screen together, check out that movie. I'm gonna think of the name while you
100%.
yeah. So it's definitely something. So haven't played the game. Not a big fan of the zombie horde genre, but this show spoke to you.
100%. And I think part of the reason that it spoke to me and it spoke so loud was that I love watching specific actors and I also
Mhm.
enjoy shifters. And that's one of my
Mm.
favorite words to say, even when I'm on set or when I'm watching anything really, is
Yeah.
that if you are a shapeshifter, you are for me. Zendaya is a perfect example of that. Someone like
Yeah.
Meryl Streep is a perfect example of that.
Mhm, mhm.
When you're playing different characters that are so far different from your actual personality and who you
Mm.
are, you have me and I'm here to stay. So after that first episode, watching Pedro Pascal be this cold,
Yeah.
like
Mm.
angry, kind of at his end man that really
Yeah.
wasn't living for much, I was
Mhm.
like, yeah, I think he's gonna sway me into holding on to the end. And he absolutely did. He absolutely convinced me. And even with all the zombies and the gore of it, I
Yeah.
was still convinced to stay because I'm like, what is going on, Pedro? Joel, you're gonna make it to the end with me. So
He
I think that HBO and the producers and the director of the show did a really good job at being so inclusive and
Mm.
introducing a story that if you didn't play the game, you wouldn't have any idea how this is going.
Right,
He did a
right.
really good job, really good job at this.
Well said, well said. And that movie I was referring to is on Netflix called Triple Frontier. It was a really good movie. It was Bring the Tissues. I'll just say that. Bring the Tissues. So it's
Oh,
a gritty kind of like I said, mercenary mission type of movie about these groups of mercenaries working together. And like it's just bring the tissues, but they're great. They're all the whole cast. It's Ben Affleck,
the
Pedro,
cast is
Oscar.
telling me,
It's
yeah.
killer. It's killer. Kind of went on the radar there, but I definitely check it out on Netflix. But yeah, everything you just said, Gabrielle. Again, for those that are new, I always forget to do it. I've played the game, which is behind me there.
Okay, so you had a different experience for
Different
this.
experience, yeah. But I'll be honest with you though, my memory is not as good as it used to be. So it's been some years since I played the game. So there's a lot of little details that I kind of forgot about that kind of refreshed my mind. There was also some new liberties, new things they'd added to the series. For example, episode 3 was not a part of the game at all. There was
Oh
the
wow,
Frank
okay.
in the game, and Bill and Frank, but Frank was dead in the game by the time you meet him. But Bill was a much different interaction between him and Ellie through the game. So they definitely took some creative liberties that I appreciated. But man, 9 weeks of just feeling terrible in a good way because this show hits you in the heart, which brings us to tonight's finale, Gabriella. What did you think? Did you feel satisfied? Do you feel like the journey we've been on when we, as you mentioned earlier, when you meet Joe, he's cold, he's kind of, humanity's like the last thing he's worried about right now. I mean, he's literally throwing children, dead kids' bodies in fire, and just it seems so disconnected. So seeing him having this relationship with Ellie, did that journey work for you in tonight's finale?
I think that's what made the finale work for me. That relationship is what carried it for me because at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day we are critics and I think sometimes I'm not 100% like so easy on the shows that I watch, and I expect so much out of them. So
Especially with this
from an
show, the bar being
action,
so high
yeah, like
from the
for the
beginning.
action standpoint, on a finale, did I feel so, gratified?
Mm.
Yeah, no, like I think the hospital gave it to me, but the ending was like, I was like, oh, that
Yeah,
was it.
kind of abrupt ending. They've done this a couple times this season
Yeah.
where they're just like,
But
and scene.
I think that the fact that it took 9 episodes to finally see Joel almost feel
Mm,
like his will to live was back, and his will to live was back from this girl, and she
mhm.
gave him that feeling of being a father again and being open enough to talk about the passing of his daughter and have
Yeah.
these conversations. Like, my heart was so warm finally getting to see that side of Joel.
Yep.
And again, with Pedro Pascal, I think it's one of the most amazing things with him because he's not a father in real life, but the
Mm,
way he was able to execute these emotions going back and forth of, I lost a child and I'm angry and I don't want to live, to I'm going to adopt this kid basically, and I'm going
mhm,
to make sure
mhm.
she lives and put it all on the line for her, I think was incredible. But that's why I feel like the finale was really good for me. And I would give it a high score because I finally was excited to see Joel want to live for her and protect her, especially
Mhm.
after last week's episode. Because I
Yeah.
think last week's episode was a lot to digest,
Mhm.
especially as a woman, because those situations, unfortunately, aren't zombie situations. They do
Yeah.
happen in real life.
Real life monsters, yeah.
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 So I think that sense of fear that I got from the last episode quickly faded away with this one because it was like Joel's back and he's going to protect her. So I was I was happy with it for sure. I was happy for him. Super happy with it.
I'm kind of on the same boat with you. There's a lot of things to be satisfied with tonight. From a journey of characters, character development, relationship between Joel and Ellie. That's the heart of and the soul and the foundation of this story. And I think they stuck the landing there. You mentioned something as far as something we've been talking about, especially from game players' perspective. Not that this show introduced itself in this action heavy type of genre. We got zombies or clickers and infected. We're fighting them off every single episode. But I have heard the complaints, especially if you've played the game, and that's where the video game of it all comes in, where you're killing people left and right, and you're trying to survive, and that adds that element to the game. And not that the show shied away from that, but they definitely put a more emphasis on the development, the smaller moments, the quieter moments. And when they did go big, like tonight's episode, when we see him taking out all the fireflies, and episode 5, when we have the horde of clickers, they did a good job of doing so. But it just wasn't as much as I was hoping for. But again, I'm one of those watchers where if you can substitute good character stuff, good dialogue, good acting, I'll take that over action any day. And I'm an action fiend. I love me some good action, especially when it comes to survival, apocalyptic type of stories. But, I would substitute a smaller moment, a quieter moment with some really good sensibilities and some growth more so than I would, stab, shoot, explosion. So I definitely will take that any day of the week. But as you just kind of mentioned, Pedro definitely got his time to shine because the last couple weeks he's been laying in
Down
the
and out.
bed getting paid, man. Hey, it's the best job on earth right there. You get to, chill on the bed while Bella was carrying the show, and rightfully so, because we'll get to a little bit later. She stole this show from me as she
She's
does in the
incredible.
game. She's my favorite character in the game. But man, Bella did her thing. But Pedro was able to deliver tonight, and you touched on a thing as far as that. And I guess I'll bring this up in my negative now. There is a moment in this episode, and we'll kind of break down some certain scenes, highlighted scenes. I wish we would have saw that moment from last week, as you mentioned. Such a beautiful moment, and I love that Ellie was the one that saved herself, because in the game, Joel doesn't save her, but like Joel's picking off some of the people while she's trying to get to David and Ellie, and he's the one that pulls her off of David after she's bashing his face in with the cleaver. I love how she was the one that kind of stepped away from the violence, kind of let herself out of that moment, out of the burning house or building. And I just wish we would have saw that moment of just like from last week to this week. Cause I don't know how much time has passed. I would have loved, I don't know if they had the conversation. Like, do you want to talk about this, Ellie? What just happened? Because that is a very traumatizing situation. And I think we saw some of that in the episode because she was kind of quiet, but I wish we would have got that. I don't know. Am I nitpicking there, Gabriella? Would you have
No,
wished that we got that moment, that bond?
I really was hoping that the season finale would start from there and kind
Yeah.
of give us that, like, that moment she realized she was safe, and they gave a
Mm,
little bit more to it. And same thing as you said. I mean, I feel like it was so beautifully done, and in the sense of how they came back together. And I appreciate more that she was not a damsel in distress, and she was going to get herself out, knowing that Joel was down and out, not knowing where he was, not knowing that anyone was going to, show up to save her. She did it on her own, and I appreciate that severely. And I think that that's super important for a generation of women. Obviously, we're not going to be in a zombie apocalypse. However, it still says it's just monumental to have that moment, especially being as young as she is and being in the situation that she was. I mean, I was even
yeah.
watching it like, if I was in this, I'm not sure I would make it out. I'm not sure that I would
Yeah.
have the strength. So
Yeah.
showing Ellie's strength and how strong she truly was, even without Joel, was unbelievable. But
Mhm. Mhm.
I do agree with you where I wish we picked up from that moment. And it feels like HBO does that a lot. And I kind of feel like The Last of Us and their timeline almost
Mhm.
felt a lot like a Game of Thrones universe where you would
Oh,
watch
House
an
of the Dragon.
episode.
Oh, that was getting on my and
Yeah,
I
like
love that show, but so much
you would
off-screen development irks me.
you
I
would
hate
watch
I
an
don't
episode and you're
ah,
like, um,
y'all
this
hate each other
this
last episode, now
woman,
y'all best friends?
yeah, or like, this woman was 13 years old in the last
Right,
episode.
now
She's
she a grown
35
adult.
today. How she has 6 kids. This has only been a week. So I think that they do that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's where they kind of hit a wall with me, because I'm like, we want the in-between moments, and the in-between moments are
Yep.
so important, especially in shows like this where your character development is the heart of your show, and your characters and the way they act between each other and their dialogue is what's keeping people here. So to kind of neglect those moments, it was sad to me. Like, they fell short on that for me, and they definitely should have given
Yeah.
us more.
I agree. Zia even said another and listen, runtime to me is I try to ignore it because not everything has to be, especially with TV, has to be an hour. And I mean, the first episode we got spoiled with an hour and a half almost episode, and it
Right.
kind of set the mood. I'm like, oh, we about to really dive into it. But ever since week one, we got 50 minutes, 48 minutes, 52 minutes. So again, I don't want to harp on the runtime, but I do feel like there was an extra 10 to 15 minutes that they could have added on, especially with it being a finale, man. I feel like there's a little bit more nuance, a little bit more quieter moments that we could have gotten, especially from the baton from last week to this week. So I definitely think there was a missed opportunity. But within that negative comes a positive, because this goes back to the performance of Pedro and Bella and Joel and Ellie. As you kind of mentioned earlier, there's the little nuance in the conversations. There's the personality switch in Joel. Like, he's making small talk. He's talking about Sarah, like you mentioned. So I think the actors, and this even goes back to the House of the Dragon, they do such a good job of expressing the time, jump that we've gotten, and
Yeah.
kind of the new relationships that we're seeing on screen. I feel like they have done enough to kind of sell me on, okay, I can see how this growth has happened, even though we didn't see it on screen. So do you feel the same way with their performances?
I think when you put an actor that understands their character and their character's energy and the way their character is going to develop, I think it does make a major difference.
Yeah.
Olivia Cook is the perfect
Oh, she was
example of
great.
that.
I'm team
She's
black, but yeah, the greens,
Oh, Team Black forever,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
she's an unbelievable, um, like, example of taking a character, and for her, she didn't even play the younger version, so she's
Right.
just running off of somebody else.
All new
But I think that
territory.
that was
Yeah.
a perfect example of
Hmm.
the actor will take it there, and the more research they do and the more willing they are to jump into that space, the better the performance will be, and the happier that the audience is going to be. And I think Pedro Pascal really put his heart and soul into this. And like I said, I think it's huge because he in real life is not a dad, and for him to convince us that, like, going into this, I was like, oh, he's definitely got kids. And then I did some research and I'm like, oh my God, this guy plays like the greatest dad, and like that love for his kids. And I just would have just assumed. So I definitely think that if the actor is willing to carry it, it will work. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the actor doesn't want to, divulge themselves. But Euphoria was a perfect example of that as well. Like, that set, from what I understand, every character had their own specific notebooks, and they were just jotting down even things that maybe don't seem important to the normal person. Like, what would Maddie's Twitter bio be? things like that make a difference if you're skipping through time. And I think it shows dramatically.
Well said. The research behind these actors and how they kind of pull out again, even though we might not see all that all on screen stuff, they know in their head what the character would have went through that time gap. So they're able to kind of play it into the scene as far as the development. So yeah, I think the research is definitely something that you see from all these actors on the show, but especially from Joel and Ellie. And also I was reading you guys' comments. Seems like a lot of people were, 8.5, 9s, a lot of 10. So it seems like a lot of people are satisfied. So I'm kind of in that territory where I'm like kind of an 8.5, kind of 9. Wasn't perfect. We'll get into more of the flaws, but kind of get into one of the moments I want to bring up here and get your thoughts and everyone in the chat. I'm a big horror fan. Gabriella, grew up in horror. Things don't faze me, but there's something that does get me. And that's when people are running for their lives. I don't know what it is about people running, and especially when there's like a zombie chasing them, that just freaks me out. But I want to highlight this wonderful actress who I'm very familiar with, and those that play the game know who this is. This is Ashley Johnson. And the cool thing that was so amazing with me, Gabriella, and also too, I love that they brought back characters from the game to play different characters in the show. But Miss Ashley Johnson in the game played and voiced Ellie. So the idea of her giving birth to, like, being the character and the kind of birthing the character, kind of passing the baton on to Bella, is so awesome to me. And I'm so glad that they allowed these pivotal, characters in the game to portray these characters. And even though I played the game, I don't believe we ever met Ellie's parents, or at least in this case, the one parent. I don't know who the father is. Maybe that's, something to explore in the future. But I thought Ashley Johnson, in a small amount of time, and this goes for a lot of these actors on the show who get like one scene or two scenes that don't have like the biggest role, how they're so impactful. What did you think, Gabriella, about this opening sequence, from her running from the infected, kind of giving me some Quiet Place, Emily Blunt, when she was giving her birth to the child in the first one, kind of vibes to, and again, I played the game, but I don't remember us ever learning how Ellie was, got infected. They showed that her mom was bit, the umbilical cord cut. I mean, Gabriella, take it away. I thought this scene was damn near perfect. Your
I
thoughts?
kind of loved it because I thought it was very meta, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that. I
Yep.
love when you can incorporate, if you're adapting a series from a book or you're adapting it from a game or however you choose to adapt it. I think it's a beautiful thing when you can include the originals that made it popular, and they may have not made it popular in your medium, in the video, whatever TV world, but it's nice to be able to include those people. And I also think there's a level of respect for that, because you have to give the flowers to the people that made this what it is at the end of the day. And
Exactly.
I'm a woman, so this is coming from a woman's perspective. I personally hate birth scenes. But I think I hate them because it's real and it's a
Yeah.
scary thing to even think about.
Just in,
So,
yeah. Besides apocalypse and the clicker chasing you,
right.
just birth in general is terrifying for sure. Yeah.
I was less freaked at the zombie at this point because I'm like, okay, zombie's coming, but I'm more freaked. I'm like, you have a child coming out of you and
Yeah.
you're stressing
Yep.
me out. Like, someone get the woman some medical assistance. But
Mm-hmm.
I do love the fact that we kept going back and kind of explaining how Ellie ended up where she is. And, even with Riley and
Mm-hmm.
the whole arcade scene, which I think was so beautifully done.
Mm-hmm.
Again, backstory is so important in stories like this
Right.
because
Right.
you have all these people from different places somehow intertwining with each other. And without the backstory, it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind
Mm-hmm.
of love this because I was like, what, up until that point, I was like, who was Marlene and why did she have this kid? And
Yeah.
why did you just steal someone's child knowing that they had the cure in them? Like, it was a little confusing to me. So I
Yeah.
kind of loved that it tied all in and it made a lot of sense to me. I also love the fact that we did see the mom get bit and then give birth to that child,
Oh
which
man.
made sense to me because when the situation with Riley arose and we
Mm-hmm.
watched that arcade scene, my first thing was, well, these two are not far in age. If not, they're the same age. So
Mm-hmm.
how is it that one is immune, the other
Mm-hmm.
is not? They're
Right.
born into the same environment.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little odd to me. So I think tying it in this way was beautiful. But like I said, birth scenes are, HBO seems to love those.
They
Um,
do.
they really love their terrible, scary birth scenes, and they're never in a hospital for them. If you notice, like I don't
Yeah,
know
that's a good
the
point.
last time. We've seen a woman give birth on HBO in a hospital. I couldn't tell
That
you.
is a fantastic point. Yeah, there's definitely something of a symbol of like rebirth and the importance of birth of characters on HBO. And like you said, it tends to. This is a keynote for everyone at home with HBO. If there's a birth going on, it normally doesn't turn out well for either the mother or sometimes the child. So yeah, we always it's like a red flag with HBO. It's like this is probably going to be emotional. But
Second I see a
before
pregnant woman, I'm like, oh, oh,
yeah,
how
you're like,
far along is
damn it,
she?
she's not gonna live. Game of Thrones definitely set that tone with many different seasons and episodes, and even House of the Dragon. I think they had like 3 birth scenes in that series, which
Someone
was
in what
crazy.
a Planet Live in the comments has a good point too. The first episode of Euphoria was a birth.
I guess that's just it's like in the contract. It's like, hey, we don't care what the genre is. We got to have a birth scene. We got to. Quick shout out to the super chat here from Mayan. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you all. I do this for you all, so I appreciate you and thank you, Marianne. But getting back to this scene again, I just felt I was on the edge of my seat watching this scene because I knew she was going to give birth, but it was still so scary and nervous. And like you said, just the birth of alone is just nerve wracking. But then to have on top of that, and you now understand where Ellie gets all her badassness from. Her mom was a G. I think her name was Anna.
Period.
To give self birth and to kill a clicker, that's just another level of like empowerment there. She's awesome, and I'm so curious on just kind of a side note, there's so much this show's so successful. I wonder if there's like spin-off ideas and get an origin story with Anna and Marlene growing up, or Sam and Henry on their road, that they, the path they went on. So many different great characters. But again, just overall, this scene to me just set the tone for the rest of this episode.
Oh yeah.
And they even said so much so in the kind of behind the scenes that love, the things that we do for love, Marlene having to kill her best friend, and we've seen many people have to kill their friend in the show, to carrying on with Ellie, and obviously we'll get to the end with Joel, what his love did. Good decision, bad decision, we'll discuss that, but love is just such a big thing with this episode and this series as a whole. And I, speaking of love, I just love this opening because it just set the mood, it set the tone, and it was just executed so beautifully. Before moving on, was there anything else about this opening scene that kind of stood out to you?
I felt almost like it was a little bit of a parallel too, because if you think about Ellie's run-in and her time spent with Riley, that situation played out almost exactly the same way. And we found that out at the end of the episode. So the same
Good
way
point.
Marlene
Two best
had to
friends.
take her best friend's life after she had Ellie,
Mm-hmm.
Ellie had to do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing when it came to Riley. And I think the
That's a good point.
strength in both of them is uncharted and unbelievable. But
Mm,
I also think they both, it was almost like Marlene was not willing to wait and even take that chance. The love that she had for Anna was not enough for her to take that chance and watch her become a clicker. It wasn't enough.
mm-hmm.
But on the other side, Ellie's strength was clouded because she did love Riley so
Yeah.
deeply that she waited it out for Riley to become an infected and then
Mm-hmm.
did what she did. So I think that that was a huge parallel between the both, of like, we both killed our best friends
Mm-hmm.
in just dire need, and this is what we had to do, and this is something we have to live with. And I think Marlene was living with it the entire time, but I
Right.
don't think she knew how to live with it, because again, she didn't kill somebody that was infected just yet.
Yep.
She executed her friend before it even got there, whereas
Yeah.
Ellie, I think it was a little easier to live with because she knew she was infected and there was no going back from that moment.
Right. No, well said. No, that's definitely great call out there. The parallels there, and the having to make that decision is something that sticks with you. And I'm pretty sure, I think you even said so just when you were breaking it down. Marlene probably kept that a secret. She didn't tell Ellie probably how that all played out, that she had to kill her mom in order to save her and to give mercy to her mother, because obviously she doesn't want to become a clicker and threaten to kill her own daughter. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of great stuff said there, and the parallels definitely apparent when you bring it up, which brings us to kind of this, the next moment. I love when shows do that, when you show a baby and then the next scene you see them all grown up, and we've seen her grow right in front of our eyes from a lot of different perspectives. As an actress, a lot of us know Bella from Game of Thrones, and I know she's been in some other projects that I haven't seen, but I definitely know her from Game of Thrones, and she was great in that show. Like, she carried those scenes in her in the final season of Game of Thrones, final 2 seasons, and she's growing right up in front of us, Gabriella. Like, not to jump too far ahead as far as
I
MVPs, but oh my goodness, Bella
love her.
Ramsey, get her
I
a
think she plays
nomination
a
today.
wonderful, strong, like, for the ages that she's been in the roles that
Mm,
she's been,
yeah,
she plays
yeah,
this incredible strength, and
yep,
it is one of those
yep.
things that just kinda radiates out of her in these roles, especially because I watch the behind the scenes or the interviews, and she is a kid, like, she is sweet, and you could tell she has this
Hmm.
kinda loving aura to her when she interviews, and then you go and you see these characters, like, in Game of Thrones or in The Last of Us, and she has this badass strength to her that is just incredible. And I think it's really hard to be that way and not almost feel like it's redundant. Like,
Yeah,
even though she was in Game of Thrones and had this just lore to her of being a lady and being strong for her house,
yeah.
it still felt like a different actress almost.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
just think she's incredible. I think she deserves, quite frankly, I do hope she gets an Emmy for this one. I really, truly do.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're only 3 months to this year, but I definitely would hope at least at the bare minimum a nomination. I definitely don't see that being an issue. I mean, we got a lot of great shows to look forward to in 2023, but I think there was a reason why HBO kind of gave us this at the top of the year, and I think it's gonna last for the rest of the year because she gave a
100%.
hell of a performance. And it speaks so much to her as an actress, speaks so much to the writers, obviously. But yeah, just a perfect character because it's a character that again a lot of us, like myself, are big fans of Ellie. And, there was some, I remember I wasn't one of the people, but I know there was some backlash with online, anything online is going to be some backlash. But I hope she, at least to me, she shut those people up because she killed it, man. She did a damn thing.
She
But
deserves her flowers and her
100%,
stars. Absolutely. I
all of
don't think there was anything wrong with her performance. I think if
it. Yeah.
anything, she I couldn't see anyone else playing this as well as she did
Hmm.
in just by any actress. And I don't mean that
Yeah.
by any disrespect for any actress. I just think
Right.
that there's a reason she got that role. There's a
Yep.
reason the
Yep.
show is doing as well as it is. And yes, I
Hmm.
do I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna ignore the fact that Pedro Pascal is like the hot commodity at the moment. So
Right. Right. Right.
a lot of it is coming from that as well.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
in the last two episodes, she
She
carried it
carried it.
without him.
She
She didn't
carried
need
it.
him.
Yep.
So
100%.
it just speaks to her talent, and I think that
Hmm.
she really truly loves, like, in the interviews, it seems like she really truly loves working with Pedro, and there
Hmm.
seems to be, like, this safeguard and
Yep.
this respect that they're on set with each other, which I also am going to give him flowers for, because Hollywood is a scary, dangerous place coming
Mm.
from absolute experience, and,
Hmm.
actors at the top of their game, not always the most appropriate with
Right.
younger actresses. So I think her feeling
Hmm.
protected on set and feeling like she could open up and be who she was and perform the way she was huge for her. And I think that's amazing. I think that he's amazing for being the way he is.
Well, so yeah, there's, as you just mentioned, and from especially from your perspective, you have a lot more, probably knowledge in that game as far as just the relationships in Hollywood and different actors and egos and other dark and sinister and ridiculous things that some actors put themselves in and harm other people. But like you said, I think, and not knowing Pedro, would love to meet him one day. But you can just tell some good people, and you can tell he's a good person, and
Good soul.
the way he talks about Bella, and like you said, when they do their interviews, you can just tell that there's a bond and an understanding and a relationship that is just pure, and it bleeds into to the art. And not that it always has to be the case. Not every actor gets along with their scene partners, but it helps when you respect the person you're in the
You
scene
can
with and you
feel
have a
it.
care
I
for.
mean,
Hmm.
even with back to House of Dragons, I mean, the
Hmm.
girl that plays young Rhaenyra and Matt Smith, I think they also
Yeah.
had a
Yep.
relationship of respect and
Hmm.
being very, like, comfortable with each other, with it not being weird and,
Yep.
like, awkward, and
Yep.
it showed. Their relationship on screen was so unbelievable because I
Yep.
think they were able to push their boundaries with each other without
Agreed.
feeling any type of way.
Yep.
So I think that accounts for so many on-screen relationships, because once you take that away and you put either a male actor or an actress in one of these uncomfortable environments, it will
Hmm.
translate on screen.
Yep.
Eventually,
Yep.
somehow, some way, you'll start
Yep.
to feel that.
Yep. Well said. Well said. Listen, guys, if you haven't told already, this is why I'm so happy to have her back on. And by the time this video is uploaded, I'm gonna put all her social media accounts in the description so you all can show her some love on her Instagram. And last time we talked, I think there's going to be some more of her on screen that I'm excited to see more of. So definitely show her some love. And also, if you guys are enjoying the conversation, thumbs up, share, leave your thoughts in the comments. I'll try to get to them as often as I can. But pivoting over to, so we talked and giving, and by the way, as you mentioned, giving her flowers. Let's go ahead and let's give her a round of. That's for you, Bella Ramsey. That's for you. But giving the other flowers to Mr. Pedro Pascal, who's making his return after 2 weeks of, like I said, being on the bed. I want to get your thoughts, Gabriella. I'm gonna actually have you do a little solo for like 2 seconds. I'm gonna put my dog up because he's wilding out right now. Let me know how, again, elaborating a little bit more on the change in the character, because Pedro Pascal is giving us a Joel side that we haven't seen since episode 1, which is the more caring and less hard and cold towards Ellie. He's a full-on father towards her in the beginning of this episode. Small talk, playing games, want to teach her the guitar. So I'm gonna have you lead this conversation, and I will be right back. But let's get your thoughts on Mr. Joel.
Like I said, I think being an actor, one of the most important things in that is being a shapeshifter. And watching him shapeshift in the same role was one of the most amazing, incredible things I've seen, because we started with this rough, aggressive, lack of a will to live man, really didn't give a damn, was throwing children into fires. And I think once his daughter died, he just kind of gave up on it, in a sense of like, what was there really to live for? I survived this, but I survived it without my family. And I think that's why he held on to Tommy for so long. But watching him not save her, I don't want to say save her, but watching him like kind of come to a rescue emotionally for her was such a beautiful moment, because he became what she needed. He stopped thinking about what he was or what he was, projecting, or, I'm going to be like this shut shell of a man. He said, obviously, there was some kind of inner dialogue within Joel of, I have to become what she needs, and what this child needs as a parent is somebody who cares for her, and not on a level of, well, I want her blood and I want a cure. No, I just want to see her safe and I want to see her happy for once. And I think it was beautiful because, like I said, watching him shapeshift in the same role was just incredible. Like, my heart was glowing by the time we got to this episode, because I was like, finally, the guard is down, the walls are gone. He's treating her like a kid that needs a parent. Even with like this scene with the board game, I was like how cute to say, like, if you want to beat me at something, it'll probably be this, just to try and get her going, because he knew that whatever happened following that last episode changed her so dramatically that someone had to help pick her up. She got on her own, she saved herself, but emotionally, she was not going to be able to survive it unless he helped get her out of her shell again and explain to her that what was done out of necessity. And I think that's huge.
Well said. No, it is. And it's, not being a parent, but having had a parent and also been around a lot of parents. There's those moments when you're a parent, or anyone that's an authoritative figure or mentor, or whatever the case may be. You always want to be there for the ones you care for, especially young ones. And, there's so much that Ellie has been through. And in this moment, as you mentioned, he's trying to, bring that lighter side, because she just faced probably the darkest moment that she's ever kind of come across, which was David and that whole situation, and him just trying to get her mind off of what just happened. Again, it is a gripe of mine. I wish we would have seen that conversation, and again, how much time has passed since episode 8 and 9. But again, you can just tell back to their performances that there has been a growth, there has been an understanding, there has been a openness to his heart of Ellie kind of not replacing Sarah, but this is a daughter figure to him at this point. And I would imagine this is something he would probably done to Sarah if she would have come across David and survived that whole situation, where it's just like, let's move forward. Let's, acknowledge the situation, but at the same time being that kind of, brighter side of Joel, which it threw, I'm not gonna lie, it threw me off at first. I'm like, we haven't seen this light, jovial side of Joel, and it's kind of jarring, in a good way, of course. But I just thought that scene and seeing how Ellie speaking of kind of jarring, she was so quiet. We haven't seen her be so quiet before. And just her and I guess to your just getting your thoughts on this, Gabriella, was her silence due to the fact that it was coming off of last week's episode? Was it, and it could be a combination of all this, but last week's events, knowing that they're at the end of the road pretty soon and maybe they're gonna, go their separate ways, even though Joel has kind of alluded to with playing guitar that he wants to continue to be with her and be that protector and be a father figure. Where do you think her silence stemmed from in this episode very early on?
I think that we don't know how much time has passed between
Yeah.
last week's episode and this. I'd have to imagine some time has passed because they had quite a journey and made it
Yeah.
wherever they made it. They were in
And also
snow.
too, just from his healing, you would imagine with him getting stabbed
Right.
and being so sick that there's probably been a couple weeks, I would at least imagine, with him
Exactly.
being
So
able to walk so much.
I think her silence is still absolutely stemming from that because, again,
Mhm.
I think it was such a traumatic experience. But
Right,
on the
right.
other hand, like even with Joel, Joel started treating her like an adult and he was short with her, but he still
Mhm.
treated her like an adult. The gun issue, he like fought her on, but at some point he just kind of gave in and was like, well, you want to be an adult, be an adult. And I
Mhm.
think that when she finally was an adult and got herself out of such an adult situation, and
Mhm.
I mean, like a monster, no less, she did what she had to do.
Yep.
I think that snuffed out her light a little bit, as it would any young girl. I don't think that's something you can carry on your shoulders very easily, and everything
Right.
that she's seen, because again, she was any of the killing that was kind of done before that point was on a clicker infected basis. She
Mhm.
wasn't just killing random people that weren't infected. So I think it kind of like landed in her brain that now she was a murderer. Now she was a killer because she didn't kill people that were infected. However, she killed people that were very much going to kill her and it was out of
Yep.
survival. And I
Yep.
think that's kind of the nice part also with Joel is that, yeah, she was quiet, but now he's trying to entice her on a child level, not so much an adult level. So even with
Mhm.
the puns, like, oh, I want to hear some puns,
Yeah.
trying to engage with her with things that people her age are engaging with was the only way how to connect, because otherwise what are we connecting about? Killing people? It's not going to work that way. We have to find a
Yeah.
common ground, and the only way
Mhm.
he knew how was to treat her as a kid again. And I think it was
Yep.
beautiful, but I do think that her silence is part of the trauma that she has to deal with and now
100%.
live with.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. There's so much nuance in that silence. Again, the trauma, the journey they've been on, just all the all the stuff she's been dealing with her life. Because I would imagine, when she had that moment, she's thinking of Riley, thinking of Tess, thinking of Sam, and all the different things. Even though she didn't know Frank or Bill, just the death, always being surrounded around death is something that definitely is weighed on her shoulder. And to your point on that childness and embracing more of her innocence, even though she's lost a lot of it in the last week with that trauma scene. Before we get to that, quick shout out to Fitness here. Why bro ain't covered the he was in shock, man. He didn't know what to do. He probably, I don't even know if 20 years if sometimes people probably haven't seen a baby in so long. They don't even know how to act around a baby. So no, I don't know why the
I was
Firefly guy.
wondering the same thing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Yeah,
like, he
he
didn't
just
even listen.
but yeah,
You didn't
he
even
maybe
listen.
yeah, he didn't know the assignment there. But thank you for the super chat and very very funny comment. Appreciate that. But getting to your point, Gabriella mentioned that innocence and kind of Joel realizing the moment. This is a moment that was in the game. Again, I don't remember I remember all the big moments. And this was one of them. This was a moment in the game where you did just experience David and all that stuff, and your adrenaline's high. You kind of got to come down that high, and we get this beautiful moment here between the giraffe and the Ellie being so in awe and just again kind of taking her mind off of what she just went through. I just thought this scene was so beautiful on so many levels, especially from a dialogue perspective, with Joel eventually telling her, hey, we don't got to do this. And this is such a parent thing I would imagine some parents would do, which is the big question of tonight. Did Joel do the right thing? Humanity over an individual, and love, conquers all. But he tells her, we don't have to go through this, Ellie. We can just move forward, go back to Tommy and just live our lives, the way we've kind of dealt with since this whole thing went to started. So, Gabriella, your thoughts on the scene, Joel telling her that, and then she being such an adult in this moment, being so beyond her years. We've come a long way, Joel. We got to
Oh,
finish it out. And I'm going to be with it. She says, I'm going to look up the line while you give your thoughts, but I think the
wherever
verbatim
you
was
go, I'm
wherever
gonna
you go.
follow you.
Oh, come on. come on. Take it away, Gabriella.
First of all, giraffes are my favorite animal. So the second we got to this, I was like, oh, the baby giraffes are here. I was so excited. I was like, a piece of light. Oh, like this is like a moment out of the Lion
Moments.
King that we missed. I'm here for it.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
I absolutely love this because yes, it gave you a sense to. It almost was like another reminder. Like you
Hmm.
watched this girl brutally murder two people, and now
Hmm.
we're showing you how excited she is to see a giraffe. So
Right.
understand, she is still a child. She is not a grown woman. She is a child that has endured all of this. And I think that Joel giving into it again was like, I
Hmm.
need to be able to let her have childlike experiences in this
Exactly.
absolute chaos. There is no way that it's not fair that she should be growing up like this and not
Yep.
getting these experiences
Yep.
because of just, I mean, environment and the way she was born. It wasn't her fault. Like this, she didn't choose this. So I
Hmm.
think him even like moving on to get the branch and give it to her was just again like, just be a kid for a second. Like, let's
Yep.
stop thinking, just enjoy what you're seeing and enjoy the moment. And
Yep.
I think also she's starting to realize that his attitude has completely done a 180 with her. And I
Yeah.
think that was a big reason that she stood her ground with, we didn't do all of this for nothing.
Yep.
We have to follow through with what we said we were going to do.
Mhm.
And she stood her ground like, yeah, I'm a kid, but I still want to make this adult decision to set out what we were supposed to do. And I think he at this point is like, Joel is willing to go above and beyond and do anything that is going to put a smile on her face or
Mhm.
make her feel better for
Yep.
the situations that she's been put in. He'll do anything.
Oh,
So it doesn't really matter what he wanted. It was about what she wanted and what she was going to feel the most comfortable with. So I
yep.
think that's also why she said, I'll follow you, like just in case he felt like, oh, well, I'm going to drop her off and leave. Like she wants to leave me. She made sure to,
Mhm.
to follow up with that so that he knew that this was like for the long haul and she had no
Yeah.
intentions of abandoning him, which I think was
Oh,
like the
man.
sweetest thing ever because he needed that too. Like,
Yeah.
especially because his attitude changed and he opened up so much and he was talking about his daughter and talking
Mhm.
about the moment of how he got the scar. And, I think that was a huge trigger because I'm sure, that's not something you regularly want to talk about, especially with a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
It's not
Mhm.
something you want to
Mhm.
be discussing.
Right.
Um, but I think again, he's realizing that yes, she's a kid, but she needs the truth in some ways. She needs not all the
Mhm.
truth, but she needs it in some places, and I have to
Yep.
give it to her. And that's what he was doing. I thought it was beautiful. I think the giraffes were like one of the most unbelievable choices that they made.
Yep. It's it's definitely goes down as a, again, being the gamer, there's certain scenes you want to see revisited and executed perfectly. And I think they hit on all those notes. And this scene definitely was beautifully displayed of, again, just like you mentioned several times, in regards to him allowing her to be a kid and him allowing her to embrace the moment, and him also kind of allowing his guard to be down. Because again, we go back to episode 1. If this was Joel and Ellie episode 1, they saw a giraffe, keep it moving, kid. We got a job. You're just a
We have
mission
places to
for me,
be.
right? Exactly. So this is a whole nother different character. They've experienced so much different things that have impacted them in such a positive way. Negatively, it hurt them, obviously, mentally speaking, but it allowed their relationship to become what we see on the screen now. And yeah, this moment and their line delivery, I just felt every line. And again, the show doesn't miss out on the emotional beats. They play it out so well, and these actors
Yeah,
do
they
such a
do.
great job in doing so. But unfortunately, the happiness, in this world, in this show, it doesn't last long. They get ambushed by the weak ass fireflies. Fireflies are trash. Um, they take out Joel, and they capture Ellie. We have Joel waking up in the bed, and again, going back to just a character change from the mission to now, where is Ellie? I need Ellie. I just need to protect her. And Marlene, as cold as a freezer, tells him, we got a doctor, and the doctor figured out, how to make a cure. And unfortunately, that cure is the result is killing Ellie. In that moment, you saw him. It was the facial, and you knew he didn't want any of this to go down. Which brings me to the question, Gabriella. And again, we'll get to the ending, but that decision to save humanity right in the palm of your hands. All the stuff he's been through for 20 plus years. Sarah was lost 20 years ago, and losing Tess and Frank. And there's probably tons of other characters we haven't met that he's met in his life throughout this time that he's lost. Saving humanity or saving the girl who I now look as a daughter. That's a tough decision, Gabriella. Again, I know we can all put our hats in the ring and say, yeah, he made the right decision. He didn't make the right decision. As they say in the after show, this is a conversation that's been going on for a decade. thoughts,
Was it
thoughts,
really
thoughts.
the right, like, this is my thing with this whole like, this made me so angry, but not like angry at the show, more
Mhm.
angry with the characters. Like the anger, the fire was in me for this because Joel had already lost a daughter and had to
Yeah.
watch this.
Mhm.
Awful.
Mhm.
I could not imagine what that situation would ever feel like, nor do I ever hope I'm there. But um, I don't think he had any intentions of losing a second. And
Right.
whether that meant humanity going to shit,
Humanity.
humanity's already at shit. Humanity is already at shit. I've had to fight thousands of clickers on my way here.
Yeah.
There are vigilantes trying to kill us on our way here. The only one that seems to have it right is my brother Tommy, whom of which I'm going back to with this child. So you and humanity can go to shit. And I agree with him because I also think Marlene was one of the like shadiest characters because
Yeah. Yeah.
if you knew what this had entailed, if you knew that she would lose her life over
Mhm.
what? Over maybe he can figure out a cure,
Mm.
maybe we can work this out, maybe she'll survive, maybe she
Yeah.
will. A lot of maybes for you to go to all this trouble to save this
True.
child.
That's true.
And I just think like I agreed with him 100%. I mean, if this was my child, I would have done everything exactly the same way. I'm not risking my kid's life for you to maybe figure out a solution. You have a full solution, a full plan, and maybe we could talk about it. You could have some of her blood. You're not cutting into my child's brain over a
Yeah.
maybe. And
Yeah.
I don't blame him, but I do like that, like you said, it was almost like a flip was switched. That's
Mhm.
it. Like Joel went from lovable dad Joel who wants to hear puns to mass murderer vigilante within seconds. And as he was walking down that staircase, I was like, it snapped. When are you going to do it, Joel? Because you're going to do it. Like it's going to happen. So I 100% agree with what he did. I'm sorry. I'm not going to risk this child over a maybe we can save humanity.
Woo, and I put I do have a poll. Let me go ahead and put it in there. So there is a poll in the. Oh, hold on. Yes, no. Here, let me say maybe. Unsure. I'll put that as a third option. Unsure. But there is a poll in the chat, guys, and go ahead and let us know how you feel about the decision that Joel made. That's man. I again, I would never know how I would react in a situation like this. It's a lot of maybes. But it's maybe the biggest maybe they've ever come across throughout this 20 years. The closest thing to a cure. But like you said, it's like, okay, well, what if it doesn't work? We just killed someone that means someone to me, man. And then also to just not even take into account if you kill her, and if Ellie, I haven't played the second game. I don't know if she has kids in the second game or whatnot, but like her offsprings, like you're eliminating that whole side of everything. Like if she were to have a kid and they were to have the vaccine in them or the cure in them. So there's so many maybes, like you just mentioned. To say he made the right decision, say he didn't make the right decision, it's a tough call. So let us know in the chat, guys. There's a poll in the chat now that you guys can respond to and let us know what you think. But as you mentioned, him going straight Rambo, again, that action sequence was a big part in the game when you got to go through the hospital. And again, the Fireflies are trash. One man taking out that whole mini army. It just kind of speaks to their lack of
Right.
communication and skill. So they're not the biggest people you want to fear from. But he's going through, taking them out left to right. The score, by the way, I'm a big score head. I love the score that they put in the mix. It adds to the intensity and to the suspense of that scene. But he goes and finds her. And again, I haven't played the second game, but I'm very aware of certain things, big things that happen in the game. And Gabrielle, I don't know. And if anyone has played the game, please no spoilers for those that haven't played it or, are excited for season 2. But were you slightly aware of some of the stuff that went down in game 2, Gabriella? Just kind of briefly curious on if you know
I
certain
didn't
things.
see. I
Okay.
am an avid stay away from spoiler girl.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Because even with Game of Thrones and House of Dragons,
Yep.
I was one of the people that watched House of Dragons first, and I'm actually very happy that I did in that way, because when Game of
Mhm.
Thrones came out, I wasn't really into the fantasy, the dragons of it. I like TV that felt more authentic to me and felt like I had characters I can associate with and feel like, I see myself in them and my friends, and I enjoyed that part of it. But
Mhm.
even when House of Dragons came out and everyone was like, "Oh, it's Fire and Blood, and you got to read Fire and Blood," and I was like, I could, but then
Yeah.
I'll ruin it and I'll know how the story ends, and that's not something that I think I want to do, because once I know how it ends, it kind of ruins the allure of
Yeah.
it for me.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I think what I do love is that I'm not a game player. I'm not a big video game person in the least, but
Yeah.
even not playing the game and not being someone who really plays video games at all, while watching it, I'm having the best time, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm
Mhm.
Ellie now. This is so fun. Oh, we're
Mhm.
driving the car. We're driving the car. It felt like you were really playing the game. And I'm so happy you said that there was a hospital scene where you had to kill fireflies. Because when the scene started, I was like, oh, we're on a mission. Now we got to kill all
Mhm.
these
Yeah,
guys.
it felt like a video game too, and it was very much
I
so at that
love
point.
that they did that, because it didn't feel like a regular HBO series of where we're just watching it. And you felt like you were absolutely playing with them. You were part of it.
Mhm.
So I think that was incredible. Like their cinematography and their camera angles and the way they operated. I think that was episode 1, but in the car where they had it
Yeah,
like
when they
behind their
pan and
heads.
that was so great. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
not a regular shot for a TV. That's not something you would usually shoot, because you're looking to
Mhm.
see people's faces and,
Mhm.
hear the dialogue. But I love that, because again, if you didn't play the game, they roped you in and they were like, no, you're playing now. You're
Mhm.
playing now. So I do
Right,
think the
and
hospital scene was cool, but I am staying away from the spoilers.
we will, and definitely we will keep the spoilers away in the chat. And I think X had mentioned something when we were doing the watch party, and he did a good job of not spoiling anything. But it is a big question, Joel killing the doctor. Just kind of curious on your thoughts on that, because again, I wish I can. I haven't played a video game in literally like 6 or 7 years. It's been a while. That's probably the last time I played this game in particular. But I don't remember if the doctor was threatening to Joel, because in this scene he picks up a scalpel and it's kind of like coming at Joel, like, "Listen, bro, if it comes between me, you, humanity, I need to do what I need to do." Which, by the way, I mean, I'm pretty sure Joel, gun in hand or not, would have took out that doctor with ease, but you never know. So the question is for everyone, and please, again, for those that play the game, please, because I'll just say this: there is an importance, and I haven't played the second game, but I am aware of certain things. There is an importance to that doctor. I'll just say that. But I'm just curious, Gabriella, and everyone in the chat that haven't played the game, was it a good idea to kill this doctor?
I think if Joel had walked in and said, unhook her, and that doctor saw that gun and said,
Mhm.
okay, well, fine,
Yep.
fine, fine. I'll
Yep.
unhook her. And he put that scalpel down.
Mhm.
I think it would have been fine. And I think he would have been fine. But he showed up, and the second he saw a man, like it's also like a theory of like stupidity. I mean,
Mm.
you are a doctor and
Yeah.
you're trying to save humanity. Do you think it was in your best interest
It's
to get
true.
up and grab a scalpel while a
To push
man is
bring
across
a
from
gun
you with a
back to
gun?
a gunfight. Yeah.
Like, why in the world would you do that? So, do I think he should have shot him? Yeah.
Yeah.
Would I have shot him in the leg?
Headshot, right? The
Probably.
execution of it all. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
little bit
I probably would
questionable.
have
Yeah.
like shot him in the leg. Like you're a
Yeah.
doctor, stitch it up, you'll be fine. It's gonna take a few weeks. You'll be back, man. We'll get to you. But I also think it was a
Yeah.
matter of Joel thinking like, if I don't eliminate them all, she'll never
Mm.
be safe.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
her safety is going to and will stay at the top of his priority list, no matter who's
Right.
in his way.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I think he did. I think he left the nurses there, but I don't think he was as concerned, because it's a much difference of a brain surgeon to someone that's, getting blood from patients. But yeah, it's well said, Gabby. As far as him, eliminating that threat, as we see what he did with Marlene, consistently looking for her. But I'll just say this, and again, this isn't coming from a game 2 expert, but I'll just say I love how they put an emphasis on showing the doctor's head and the bullet in his head, because I think that's going to be something to look forward to in an already announced season 2. So very pivotal scene that very curious to see how the show handles that. But moving on, we see he saves her. She wakes up in the back of the car, and we've talked about, there's truths and lies, and there's for good people with good hearts, there's normally good intentions behind a lie. But in the day, a lie is a lie, and the lie comes out in the dark sometimes. And you think you have something dark, it tends to always come out in the light. The parental side of it, I get why he lied to Ellie, telling her that there were other children, other immune. They was able to find a cure, so they let you go. Obviously, as an audience, we know he's lying, and I think it's safe to say, Gabriella, that Ellie, against she's so beyond her years. I think she saw the lie, she understood the lie. That's why she asked him, tell me the truth. And I think she even knows he's still lying. How do you feel about that decision? Him being so honest with her in this entire episode, but then to lie. Do you think that it was a matter of she would hate him for the decision that he made? Will she be understanding of what he did? Obviously, we're not Ellie, but we spend 9 hours with her. What do you think about the lie? And will it, I don't know, have a bad reaction come season 2 if she learns the
I
truth?
think I think at the end of the day, every parent lies. It depends what they
Yeah.
choose to lie about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I Someone in the comments had said it before. We lie to kids every day about Santa Claus. You lie. These are lies that
Bunny, Tooth Fairy.
you
Good gosh. So many
but
lies our
these
parents tell us.
are lies that you tell your kids to keep them sheltered, to keep them kids. And I
Yeah.
think part of the reason he lied was, if I lie to her, then I
Mhm.
don't have to explain to her that I just executed Marlene, that this
Mm.
woman had us travel and go through all this hell. Like, I think it was more about, he did not want Ellie to think what she did in episode 9 was for nothing.
Yep.
And I think that was a
Yep.
big part of the reason that lie was told. I don't think it was to protect
Mm.
himself, because at the end of the day, I think he knows that she does love him and she wants to follow him throughout. I mean, she's seen some gnarly things come out of Joel. So
Yeah.
this is not new to her. But I just think that lie was to protect her, because at the end of the day, I don't think telling her, well, yeah, the woman that made me take you and travel across the country with you actually wanted to kill you,
Yeah.
for shits and gigs. Hopefully we could save humanity if we kill you. I don't think that that was a necessary truth that we had to tell. I think telling that lie to shelter her was important, because she has not had the luxury of being sheltered from anything else.
Right. That's a good
He
point.
gave her that luxury.
Yeah, but at the same time, he took away that, and even Marlene says it in the garage, you don't get to make that decision. Neither do you, Joe. And you just made that decision for her. Man, that's gonna be, and I'm again, it's 2 years, 3 years, whenever we get season 2, and me
Should
not
be
having
a
had.
year. They're going into production
Yeah,
next
that is
month.
true. That is true, Gabrielle. My only thing with that whole
2024
turnaround
slate is going to be crazy.
sucked. Crazy, crazy, crazy. That's a quick turnaround. Yeah, if it shoots this fall to come out next fall of 20, well, to come out in 2020. Oof, that's a quick turnaround. And from what I understand, again, I haven't played the game. I hear that it's much larger than game one, and it's so much larger that some people are speculating that they're going to probably split the second game into a season 2 and a season 3, because it is so big. So, man,
We have to hope.
that's interesting to see how they pull it off. And hey, Pedro's a busy man. Him and Grogu are doing their thing in the galaxy, and he's obviously going to be sought out for many different roles, as he has been in the last few years. And she's going to probably be getting her phone blown up. So,
Oh,
ooh,
100%. But I also think the beauty, like on a production side,
mm-hmm.
when you think of HBO's slate and the shows that they choose to produce, it's like House of Dragons, we're going to wait till 2024, and that ended last year. That's a 2-year wait. But that's
Right.
because 95% of the things they're doing are on a special effects green screen basis, which is going to take a lot more time.
Right.
And what I love about The Last of Us is that I started in makeup, so I started in film makeup, and I appreciate those people so much. And I love when a show and those producers choose practicality. When you choose practical over special effect, like these VFX and everything. I just think sometimes that's necessary. And other than the settings, because a lot of the settings were, you could tell there was a few green screens in there, and that's like totally okay. That's comes with the territory. But the clickers are practical. They're not, VFX'd in. So having a 1-year turnaround is not, it probably isn't as crazy as we think, just because, again, everything is built and practical for this show. So they're able to do that turnaround, because if we're shooting with a clicker, we're not going in and then having 200 editors do that episode for 6 months. So I think that a 1-year turnaround for this is actually,
pretty plausible.
Yeah, probably pretty practical.
That's a good point. So I'm only in this thinking about the Ellie in the game from 1 and 2 goes from 14 and 19. And Bella Ramsey in real life is 19, but she does look a little bit on the younger side. So I wonder if a 2-year gap would allow her to age up, because I wouldn't want them to put like visual effects on her, like digitally enhance her face and make her look older. Because she does, like, if we were to film this next year, I don't think she'll probably kind of look the same 14-year-oldish, 15-year-oldish Ellie. So I wonder if they do give this show 2 years to kind of, iron out the details, the scripts, the scheduling, that it will allow her 2 years to kind of, she'll be 23 by the time the show comes out. So I wonder if it'll look more believable in the sense of we can see the growth from young 14-year-old Ellie to now 19-year-old, 5-year gap between the seasons. So I wonder if that 2-year gap will help her in that sense.
Well, I
And
also think you have to remember like makeup artists and practicality is a wonderful thing, because
yeah.
without special effects, that is very, very much possible. I mean, we've seen people. I love using this example. It's one of my favorite examples, even though it's absolutely ridiculous. John Travolta in Hairspray. I mean, they made him I mean, let's get real. They made him a woman.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
didn't become a woman. They were like, all right, you're a woman now. So I think that makeup
That's
is beautiful in that sense, and that they can age her up using
right.
makeup,
Right.
and
Right.
even hair, like things like hair, it would be longer. You
Right.
are
Right.
able to do that. So a
That's
lot of it can
true.
be practical for
That's
her,
true.
for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, to be fair too, I mean, look at the man on the screen now. They've made Pedro look like I think he's 58 in this world, but he's like 43 in real life. So they ate, a little salt and pepper, a little roughness to him. So they can do that. And plus too, this show was probably shot in 2021. So she obviously has, or 2020 and 2021. So she obviously has grown since when you see in her interview, she looks older than the Ellie that we see in the
Yeah.
show. So I think they can. I wouldn't put it past them to be able to make it happen, but also I could suspend my disbelief that even though she looks younger in the face, that I can see her playing a 19-year-old, because she is a 19-year-old in real life. So
Right.
she's able to play off of real life and how to grow the character from that 5-year gap. So that'll be interesting to see when we do get that announcement and when it comes out. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to rush it, even though we're losing some of my favorite shows now with Succession and Barry. And, again, who knows when Euphoria is going to get back on the screen. But I would want them to take their time. But if they can get that year, if it's very much possible, then why not?
I
Continue
think
that momentum.
HBO is I think there's a way too many changes happening within Warner Brothers Discovery. And I think that the slate for
So much.
2024,
Mm,
if they keep what they've promised, would be an unbelievable year in TV. And I think
mm.
that would be a situation where you're sweeping the Emmys almost.
Right, right,
But
right.
I just feel like the company in general right now is kind of dropping the ball with a lot of stuff. And obviously, I mean, yeah, not every show is going to last 10 to 8 seasons like Game of Thrones or The Sopranos. I get that.
Yep.
But I do think they have an issue with cutting things short before they even get to the end.
Yeah.
And that's where we're hitting a wall. I'm personally not a big Succession person. I have seen Barry.
Gabriella, you're hurting me. Succession
I
is my
know. I'm
jam.
sorry.
I
I
love
tried.
Logan fan. No, but go
But I
ahead.
think as long as they keep it up and they keep producing content that like this is
Mhm.
important and shows this
Yeah.
relationship that we're not used to seeing. I think that's a huge thing lately. If we've seen it
Mm.
before, it feels outplayed, and I'm like, all right, we have 6 other shows I could watch for this kind of relationship. Why would I watch this one? You have to convince me. And I think that this show did a beautiful job at giving us a relationship of a man and, well, his now adopted daughter, basically, and
Mhm.
how they would operate in this situation. Because
Yeah.
I think most of the father-daughter relationships and a lot of the ones we see recently are very like the fathers are babying the daughters and the daughters are the damsels in distress and we're going to
Yeah.
save her, even if House of
Yep.
Dragons. Rhaenyra was Viserys's life and love and light and, always defending her.
Mhm.
It was nice to see something different finally
Yeah.
in a relationship aspect.
No, I agree. Yeah, that's all. I can't, you said it perfectly. And as far as their scheduling goes, yeah, I mean, maybe, I know it hurts to say this, but maybe 2025 would be a good, just to let us appreciate what they're going to give us in 2024. Because that's one thing, not to sidetrack this conversation with Marvel and what they're doing with Disney, with shows being stacked on each other, and you don't even allow stuff to breathe and really appreciate what we just saw, because we're just jumping right into the next series. have a House of Dragon year 2024 and then come back with The Last of Us, kind of that back to back and just taking over the conversation. So we'll see. Again, I would imagine in the next coming weeks we'll have a better timeline on when things are going to get started in production and when a new season will get started. But hey, take your time, HBO. Take your time,
In a
Craig
perfect
Mason
world,
and
the
Neil.
perfect world, I would get House of Dragon. Well, yeah, I would get House of Dragons the first part of the year for
Hmm.
2024,
Hmm.
Euphoria for the second part,
And
and then
summertime,
early 2025 get The Last of Us, just one after the other. I like
bang,
that
bang,
would
bang.
be best case scenario. I
Ooh,
would dream of that.
yeah,
Um,
I would
but
too. I
HBO
would
also
too.
likes to get their coin and their Emmys because they're not lightening up. You know, you
Yeah.
Zendaya's won that award 2 years in a row. They're not about to
Hmm.
stop now.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of new changes, a lot of new CEOs in position. So hopefully they don't drop that ball. Because that's one thing that HBO has always been, and that's they're always quality over quantity. And I appreciate the slate that they give us, and they allow things to breathe. Even though I feel like we're gonna have we got a 2 week gap between this and Succession, and then there's like another a Succession and Barry gonna be running at the same time, and then also they're gonna have that new Elizabeth Olsen show that's gonna
Love
be
and
running. So
Death.
it's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff stacked on each other right now, and I don't know. I can't remember their slate off top. What big shows they got coming out in the summer and the
We also have
fall?
Rap Shit, which I know is
Oh,
filming, and
okay.
I
Yep. Yep.
love that
Season
show. I
two.
love Issa Rae. I think that she's
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Her writing's incredible, and she does
Yeah.
funny very well. So I do love that show. But like I
Yeah.
said, I think HBO, if they kept on the path that they were on with the quality that they were giving us, they would be fine. But I think,
Yeah.
yes, the pandemic, I think, altered a lot of what was going on. Same thing with
100%.
Euphoria. I think
Mm-hmm.
waiting in between, having your audiences wait 2 years in between seasons
Yeah.
you ends up losing a lot of your audience that way.
It's true. Listen, this is coming from a Atlanta fan, and we were off the air for damn near 4 years. And I, even though I was
Crazy.
excited for it, a lot of people didn't catch back on the train. As well as Barry was another effect. They were off a couple years, 3 years. So yeah, it definitely hurts the momentum of a show when you have that kind of long gated time of production and stuff like that. But it seems like to me, based on a lot of the interviews and conversation, that they're gonna get things started sooner rather than later. But to answer the poll question, a lot of you all seem to, let me pull it up here. 72% of you all said that Joel made the right decision. So, and then 15 said unsure, and 11 said no. So, all right, we're picking Ellie. We're picking love over humanity. So I can
I'm
respect that. I
sorry,
can respect that.
I'm not risking somebody I love over a
Yeah,
maybe.
I
If it
hear
was
you.
an absolute guaranteed, I may
100%
have
guarantee. Yeah,
considered it, but
something
it
to
still would have
consider.
been a no.
Yeah.
I would have
Hey, I
considered it,
respect it.
maybe not murdered the doctor, but still would have been a no.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, who's not saving Ellie? She's a once in a lifetime individual. So that's our thoughts on the finale, and to kind of pivoting over to just, I guess, general impressions of the show. And everyone in the chat, I guess, if you want to put a score in the chat, guys, definitely out of 1 to 10, what would you rate this show? Especially if you're, and this is a big one for my gamers. Not which one is better, but which method of storytelling did you prefer? If you played the game, did you enjoy the way that the narrative was told in the game, or did you enjoy how the show delivered the narrative of Joel and Ellie in this adventure? So let me know in the chat and give us a score. Bringing the question to you, Gabriella. As a season, a lot of people have put out there in the ether that this is one of the greatest series of all time. I'm not on that level yet. And I don't know if I'll ever get there because I do have a couple episodes that weren't as great as some others. But just your general impressions on the season as a whole, and then if you want to throw in maybe your favorite moments, favorite characters, favorite episodes, take it away.
I Like I said, not a big zombie girl, don't like horror. I'm at an 8.5 on this. I'm at an
Overall.
8.5 because, yes, I do agree. Some of the episodes fell a little flat for me, but I think the storytelling, and again, when it comes to shows, I'm very large on the characters' relationships with each other. Their arcs are very important to me. And I think this show did a really good job at that. And I also think with a limited amount of time on each episode, they gave really, really good relationship details and these beautiful, well orchestrated characters, which is very hard to do in an hour. And I think perfect example for me was Bill and Frank. I think that that was one of the most beautiful one of the most beautiful television episodes because
Mm-hmm.
you had somehow some way managed to give us a beautiful love story between these two men.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, yes, this is a gamer situation. Yes, this was a game. And I think a lot of people were up in arms about that episode. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say, I think it was one of the best because I think
Oh yeah, I agree.
the way you were able to show the love that they had for each other and the way they went out and how like well accustomed they were to each other and how they started to where they were was unbelievable, and it was
Mhm.
great storytelling from start to finish. I also think that again with HBO and the births, they also happen to like killing kids off. I don't know what that
Yeah.
is, but
Yeah.
someone needs to talk to. They need therapy over there. Um, they need some real therapy. I
Yeah.
think Sam and Henry was
Oh man.
tough, a
Jeez.
very tough episode. But
Yeah.
again, you watch this man go to bat for that child. And
Mhm.
at the end of that episode, you realize that he wasn't living for anyone but that kid. And I think also that was a turning point for Joel. He watched, like that could have been me and that would have been me if this was my situation with my daughter. But, it didn't work out the way I planned. And we are where we are. But every single thing that happened throughout the season all came together, tied together, and everything had a purpose. And that's a big thing for me. I think if you can manage to tie in your characters and tie in your storylines, amen, and 10 out of 10 for that. So yeah, but I gave it an 8.5 just because again, the zombies, the gore, not always my favorite. And I do think the last episode we deserved a better last few minutes. And I
Yeah.
wanted those few minutes after episode 8. We deserve those as well. We deserve
Mhm.
the turnover to watch Joel completely do a 180 on her and
Mhm.
become a dad instead of
Yeah.
becoming this adult that was getting her from point A to point B.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but Bill and Frank, I cannot say enough. Anytime someone asks me about this show, I'm like,
Go
please
watch that
get to
episode.
Bill and Frank and then
Yep.
decide whether or not you want to continue. Because I think that episode was the reason that kept me watching for a while. Like, I was like, if
Yeah.
they can tell a story like this and have it be so
Mhm.
beautiful and
Mhm.
have it hit home, even
Yeah.
though like we're not in a zombie apocalypse, like this is not happening.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was like just blown away by that.
It's
So
moving. It's
8.5,
moving. 8.5 out of
8.5.
10. Oh, that's a solid, score. Because again, the show has a lot on its shoulders. Not even taking away the gaming aspect of it, but still acknowledging that it is one of the most beloved games, like not just of our generation, but like of all time. And I definitely, when I was a gamer, I can attest to that. Like the storytelling in that game was like unmatched, at least for me. So that pressure of doing that, and then of course it does come with the stigma. It's HBO, so it has to be premium, it has to be top notch. So there's that pressure. There's the showrunner from Chernobyl, which was a success. So there's like, is that was just a fluke? Can he come in and do this with this adaptation? You have the game creator coming from the game and coming into the show. That doesn't always translate well. We know that the Game of Thrones crew had George R.R. Being involved in some of the writing, but they kind of abandoned him later on. So we saw how that worked out. And on the reverse of that, sometimes you have, whether it's comic book movies and having the artists that wrote the comics or the characters try to write the screenplay. I think of, not getting into the drama of J.K. Rowling's, but her coming up with those stories and her being the screenwriters for the Fantastic Beast. And those were one of the worst things about those films, to me, were the scripts. So it doesn't always mean the creators are always going to translate their story into another medium. So the fact that they brought him in, and I thought that he did a good job of bringing, he's even said that the beauty of him working on the show is he's able to maybe do things that he wasn't able to do in the show, like the Bill and Frank relationship, like having Ellie having a girlfriend and all the different things of that nature. So it allowed him to be able to tell those stories in a different medium. So I love that. So a score for me, I'm at like an 8.5, maybe 8.8. Because I will say, going back to my favorite episode was the Bill and Frank, because if you guys watched the watch along, like I was emotional. I was tearing up like it was like they were my uncles or something. I was seeing them die on the screen. That was just such a beautiful episode of television. So to move me in that matter, and not just that episode, but again, Henry and Sam, that moment got me emotional. And of course, but Joel and Ellie, a lot of their moments got me emotional. So if you can pull that out of me as someone that is kind of desensitized towards certain tropes and deaths, and haven't played the game, the fact that you still can invoke those emotions for me, even though I know what was going to come, speaks a lot to the writing and the directing and obviously the acting. So that goes a long way for me. Some of the shortcomings, and we talked about it up top, I'm not a fan of off-screen development. And even though I do feel like the actors were able to convey the time that we might have not seen on screen, I still like to see those moments because it just adds context and adds subtext and makes it, tangible. So I do feel like there were some things that were rushed. And I'm not going to even bring up the gaming element. Like I mentioned up top, that there were action moments that were pivotal to the game. Like even last week's episode with David and Ellie in the game, you and David worked together to kill, clickers. So that builds a bond from Ellie's perspective. Like, oh, I can trust him because we saved each other's lives. So that would have been
That's
something that
crazy.
they kind of miss out on. I think a lot of the action beats are not only action just to be action, but it tells the story within the action. So certain things like that will kind of missed opportunities. And episodes that I didn't really vibe with as much as I did as like episode 3 or episode 1, 2, 5, 8, and tonight. Wasn't the biggest fan of episode 4 because I'm not a big fan of. I love the actress that played Catherine. Was her name? Colleen or whatever her name was. That
From
actress is
Succession,
great.
right?
Yeah, she's a great actress, but I did not like
Unbelievable,
her in
yeah.
that role. I thought she was kind of the way they kind of conveyed the character, like she was trying to be menacing and trying to be tough, but I just
Yeah,
never
it didn't
felt
work.
that from her. That episode was kind of poor to me in the execution. And I know everyone loves episode 7, and I like the acting. I love a love story, especially a young love story with those two. Shout out to Euphoria with Storm Reed. She was fantastic, as well as Bella. I
She
just
doesn't
wish they
catch a
would have.
break. Why
I
is
know, right?
everyone is always breaking things around her? That poor girl does not get to break anything.
Hey,
They
maybe
are
she,
breaking doors down. They are
yeah,
smashing glass. Leave her alone.
she's
Let her
got a
break
sister
something.
that's just breaking herself. So yeah, Storm Reed always has. She's always playing. She's always surrounded around chaos. But episode 7, I wish could have been executed better for me personally. But taking that aside, again, I say 1, 2, 3, excellent. Especially that premiere episode was excellent, and that episode 3 was
Yeah.
fantastic, and Tess' death was fantastic. Not the biggest fan of 4. Episode 5 was episode 5 was great because that was Sam and Henry died in that episode, and also we got the big bloater. That action set piece was fantastic, and that little girl in the back seat. I know you're not a horror fan, but as a horror fan, I love that little girl who was contorting and chasing Ellie.
She
That was
stressed me
fire.
out. She
That was
stressed me
fire.
out.
Episode
Yeah.
6 was fine. That was when we got the Tommy and Joel reunion, but also we got the moment where Joel was talking to Ellie. You're not my daughter, and he ended up. So that was a great episode. I've just mentioned episode 7. Episode 8 was fantastic. And then
Unbelievable.
tonight was pretty solid. So overall, man, 2 out of the 9 is a good ratio for me. So again, that gives
Yeah.
me my 8.8 out of 10. So that's our thoughts, guys. Let us know in the chat your favorite episodes, favorite moments, and last question I have for you, Gabriella. MVP. Who gets that award? Who gets the award for a sixth man of the someone that's coming in who maybe didn't get as much screen time, but they left a big impact on you? Who got that award? And I guess if you do have a favorite episode, if you want to let us know what that is. So MVP, your favorite character. Who was the character that didn't have as much screen time but left an impact on you? And which episode would you say is a masterpiece in your eyes?
MVP, Bella Ramsey, period. Ellie, I
Yep.
think. That'll tie into my favorite episode as well. I'm gonna say 8. I think watching a girl that age have such strength
Yep.
to want to live, to want to fight, and be able to get herself out of that situation was incredibly necessary. And I also think
Mm-hmm.
that the storyline, especially, I mean, I'm 28, and I think growing up, a lot of the media that I digested was, young girls were the damsel in distress, and women, that's
Yeah.
just how it kind of operated. And I think that this was such a beautiful moment in the sense of like, she didn't need Joel. She didn't need anybody. She got out of it herself, and it may have been ruthless and she may have killed somebody, but she did it for survival and she made it through with her own strength. And I think that was incredible. So yeah, 100% MVP is going to be Ellie. Favorite episode is going to be 8. And I think as far as screen time, to be honest, I'm a little sad about Bill and Frank only being 1 episode. I kind of was hoping that
Yeah.
Bill and Frank would kind of come along.
Carried
Not
over.
maybe
Yeah.
over the
Which they
series.
do in the game where Frank dies in the game. So we don't even mean him. But Bill he has a lot of stuff with him and Ellie don't even like each other in the game. Like they are
Yeah,
very
see,
much
I
not
wish
friends.
we got more of them because Bill was such a survivalist. And
Yeah.
I think that would have been so helpful. And I think it would have been a beautiful thing to watch and kind of unravel instead of just, 1 episode, they're done. And also, yeah, like I think Tess was great, but I also think my issues with Tess were kind of like my issues with Joel in the first few episodes of like, are you gonna open up and like let us know why you are the way you are? Because it's like taking a little bit, and I'm getting a little annoyed. And I think
Mhm.
her wall was up from start to finish almost. Instead of, you had like a glimpse of what she went through, but
Mhm.
it wasn't enough. I would have loved to see more of Tess's backstory, and we
Yeah, I
didn't get
agree.
that. That fell short for me. I was kind of really sad about that for
Yeah,
sure. She deserved more screen time.
I agree. I agree. I'm gonna cheat on this one. I might give. Definitely Bella for the MVP, but in the NBA All Star game they can give co MVP. So I'm gonna give maybe a little bit of percentage to Pedro, but definitely the bulk of it
Come
goes to
on.
Bella. Um, Sixth man of the year for me. I mean, it was tonight. I don't mean to, to be so biased and live it in the moment, but I thought Ashley Johnson, just her small scene at the beginning, was so impactful for
Incredible.
me. And also Tessia, very little screen time, but she was very impactful. But I love what Ashley Johnson did with a little bit of screen time. And then again, my favorite episode. Oof, 1, 2, and 3 are almost perfect, but I got to go with 3. Um, that was just beautiful, and I thought the performances. Nick Offerman is just the secret sauce to anything he's attached to, and I'm becoming a big fan of Murray. What's his name? From White Lotus and so many other great shows. I can't think of who played Frank, but he's great in everything I see him in. But that story was just so beautiful. So I think episode 3 and episode 5 are kind of tied for me for my favorite. So
I also think
that's
it's
it.
funny watching them, like watching, because HBO obviously has a roster of actors that they seem to like
To
pull
keep it
around,
in rotation.
that
Yep.
are like on contract, like we're in the
Yep.
1920s again, and you're like, you're on contract for Paramount Studios.
Signed for
We're keeping them
19
on the lawn.
films.
Yeah, like I feel like that's what they kind of do, and they're
Yeah.
progressing backwards because
Mhm.
Stormy Reed, again, do I feel like
Yep.
Stormy Reed's character in this was very far different from what she's in Euphoria? Not really. Not particularly.
Mhm.
Like I think it was
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
felt a lot alike. Um and then same thing with Frank, like the White Lotus, and then watching him come here was such a flip. I was like, you know what? I love
Mhm.
watching this like flip of the coin that you can shut off and turn on. Like this is
Yep.
incredible. Same thing with
Yep.
Pedro, but Pedro seems to he's he's encapsulated the vibe of the adoptive father.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
Mm.
Whether it's Grogu or Ellie, he's just taking all the kids in, and the
Yep.
kids love him. And I
Yeah.
agree, I love him too. So I love watching him do this because it's so funny to me that these are the roles he gets, and they're just the same father figure in different like universes. He's like, I'm either saving someone from an apocalypse or I'm
Universal
saving
dad.
someone from all this. Like I just love that about him. I love the back and forth. It's like
Yeah.
so funny to me.
That is awesome. That yeah, shout out to Pedro. And to answer the question here, the scariest moment for me was either tonight or that little girl in episode 5 when she was chasing Ellie. I knew Ellie was gonna be fine, but it was still terrifying to see that little clicker chasing her. Do you have a scary moment? I know you're not a big horror fan, but is there a moment that stood out to you as far
Um,
as that
the second they
covered
opened
your
that
eyes?
cage, episode 8, the second
Mm,
those 2
mm,
men came down and opened that cage, my
yeah.
stomach dropped, the panic
Yep.
set in, ensued, because I think for me, the clickers freak me out in like a gory sense because I know that's
Mhm,
what's coming. I
mhm.
know blood is coming. So I'm like, like I'm gonna like be freaked out. But that was like a different type of scary, like
Mm,
a helpless scary. And I
yeah.
think those
Yeah.
are worse than jump scares for me. So the second those 2 men came down to that basement and opened that cage, I was like,
That is
oh,
terrifying.
no, 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 no,
Yep.
no. Please leave her alone. Like that, I was in
Mhm.
panic over that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. It's definitely some moments that will stick with me. And before we wrap this thing up, Gabriella, because I know you're a big fan of movies like I am, and you mentioned your background in production, just to let you all know, I know some of you all are probably watching the Oscars now, but shout out to Not To Not To. RR was one of my favorite films last year, and that song is fire. It won tonight. Michelle Yeoh, ladies and gentlemen, has won the Best Actress. Well deserved, in my opinion. The Daniels won as well. My favorite film of last year. It looks like it's shaping up to be the Best Picture. Brendan Fraser, well deserved. I know a lot of people were nervous that maybe Austin Butler was going to maybe beat him out, or Colin Farrell. And I think that's all that we have so far.
Best picture
So,
was just announced. I have it all. I have it
oh,
right
did
here.
they announce everything?
Everything Everywhere All at Once. And I
Yes,
think it's so well deserved. I think A24
yes,
deserves all the flowers. That production
that is
company does
awesome.
the work. They do the
Wow,
work. They really do. And
that
I'm
is
so
great.
proud of all of them because they really went above and beyond. It was something we'd never seen before, something that deserved the recognition. I think that the Oscars, we've had a lot of issues with them in the last few years, just the last all years,
all
honestly.
all
Um,
of the years.
right. I think that they dropped the ball for so
Hell yeah, that's
long,
awesome.
with who they choose and who they want to nominate and who they
Yeah.
deem respectable and best in their craft. So I'm really happy that they got it right this year. They got it right this year.
They won 7 awards, Gabriella. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress. Jamie Lee won Supporting Actress. Kiki Kwan. Jeez, and I think they won Best Editing. I love that
And I
Harrison
just want
Ford.
to say something about Jamie Lee Curtis because prior,
Yeah,
I I jumped onto Twitter and I saw there's a lot of discourse over that award, um,
yeah, yeah.
and I think I understand that
Hmm,
100%
hmm.
because again,
Yeah.
it's 2023. I mean, the fact that it's taking this long to be diverse is kind of ridiculous, no matter what it is.
Hmm.
But as someone who's come from production and that has worked with Jamie Lee Curtis, that woman is one of the most incredible people on
I've heard.
set
Yeah.
and to her crew. And I
Hmm.
think that for me, I deem that more important than anything else. I think if you're an actor at that stature and you can walk on a set and speak to your crew with respect, and to
Yeah.
be honest, when I worked with her, she requested female operators for camera.
Mm.
She wanted everyone to wear a name tag. She wanted to make sure she knew your name. And I think it's just incredible to me that she was finally acknowledged because she really, in this industry, there's not many of them, and she's one of the few that really fight for the people that do make the movies. So I
That's great
think
to
it's
hear. That is so
incredible.
great to hear. That is so great because she's a personal kind of a hero in my eyes because going back to my horror love. My favorite horror film of all time is 1978's Halloween, and Laurie Strode is my favorite. Final Girl, and just seeing her career, she could have been stuck in that mold of just horror. I mean, hell, even her mom is, iconic for Psycho. But she was able to branch out, jumping into some action comedies with Schwarzenegger in the '90s, and some family fun adventures with her and I can't think of the Body Switch movie with her and Lindsay Lohan right now. But she has a great career, and I think personally, I would have loved for the Queen of
Angela
Wakanda to have
Bassett, of
won, Angela
course,
Bassett. But if it
of
was anyone else, I
course.
think this was Jamie Lee was a second for me. Her and Carrie Connix. I love the Banshee of the Inisherin, but
I think
well
it's just a
deserved.
matter of if you're going to win an award, something
Yeah.
like an Oscar, and you have to acknowledge your privilege.
Hmm.
And acknowledging privilege is a major issue in
Yeah.
Hollywood,
Yep.
in Los
Yep.
Angeles. And I think Jamie Lee Curtis just does a very good job at acknowledging that, yes, nepotism got her where she is. However, that's not going to stop her from treating people the right way. And I think
Mm.
acknowledging a crew is major, especially because when she did get that award tonight, that was the first thing she did. Was
Yeah, I
that
saw a bit of her speech.
she
Hmm.
thanked that crew, and
Yep.
without your crew, it's a self-tape audition. And I think that
Mm.
any actor that doesn't acknowledge their crew is doing themselves a huge disservice because
Yeah.
you don't know who's on the next one. And
Mm.
lately, we're realizing that younger actresses and actors have a lack of respect for the people they work with, and it's
Hmm.
sad, especially coming from a production side, because we watch it unravel, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis was so fun to work with that we had such a good time all working for her, and everyone wanted to go to work and everyone wanted to show up and do the
That's great
job
to hear.
and do it well because we
That's
were
so great.
being appreciated. So
I
I'm
love
really
that.
happy for her, but I am sad for Angela
Mm.
Bassett because
Yeah.
hello Black Panther, and I think it's
Hmm.
a big deal that Oscars are even like acknowledging Marvel at this point. So
Yeah. I just need them to acknowledge horror, and then we'll be good. Because they just seem to always not, Tony Collette, Lupita
they just
Nyong'o.
don't. I
Just like
don't know
what's
what
going on.
that issue is. Yeah, I'm not sure like why it's not considered
But
a
hey,
cinema.
man, everything, everywhere, all at once is very much a genre film. So at least that they're embracing genre films, which is great in my eyes. So maybe in the coming years we'll get some horror love. But listen, me and Gabriella can talk about this show all day and movies all day, and hopefully we will in the future talk about more things to come with more movies and shows because there's a lot of good things to look forward to. Gabriella, again, I really mean it. It's always great to talk to you. So glad we could catch up and talk about this amazing show and touch on some of the Oscar stuff. And like I said, I really do want to do this again sooner rather than later.
I'm
And maybe,
Love and Death is coming, and I
hey,
will be here for it.
Elizabeth Paulson can do no wrong. But before we wrap up, I do want to thank again Harley earlier with the super chat, Claire with the super chat, Mayanne and Fitness. I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate all of you all that join me on this watch party every Sunday night and did the after show. Next, we might do Succession. We'll see what HBO does with the screeners on that, but definitely more on Succession, Barry, and whatever awesome content HBO decides to give us. But Gabriella, I want to have you let the people know where they can find you and maybe some things you got lined up for the people in the future.
Of course. So I am a regular on Twitter and TikTok, and my username is TV and Tattoos on those. I am on YouTube as well. It's Gabriella Angeliina. Don't watch me watch TV. We love that. And we have interviews coming and press junkets coming. So stay tuned for those because you may be seeing some of your favorite actors and actresses on my page very, very soon.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. And again, I will be leaving her all her information once this video is uploaded so you guys can check her out, the YouTube, the Instagram, and the Twitter. So, and stay on before we head out, Gabrielle. I want to thank you again before we wrap it up. But for everyone watching live, thank you. And again, yes, shout out to Gabriella. She's awesome. She's awesome. And thank you all again for the kind words. I appreciate you. But yeah, as far as next coming on the channel, this week is pretty busy. John Wick, I'm seeing on Tuesday, and I think the embargo is Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that from action fans. I will be finishing the next Donald Glover show, which is him and another great creator, Swarm, which is coming to Prime on Friday. And based on the one of my episode 6 and there's 7, you guys are going to want to watch that. So keep an eye out for that later this week. And Servants Evening on Friday. So we'll be talking about that finale. And then a lot more things to come towards you guys for the channel. So many things. It's hard to keep up. But for myself and Gabriella, y'all, you have been awesome. I can't thank you enough for the support. And we will see you guys on the next video. Take care, everyone.
Very soon. See you guys.